Sims, I'll give you the information 30 seconds early. Yes, it is. We are getting AOC is dropping all types of MMORPG, and they're doing battle royale only.
And it is time. I have updated the title. So the news is the verbal NDA has dropped for Ashes of Creation. So we can now talk basically about all of our experiences. We cannot show any pictures or recordings. So the visual NDA is still up, but the verbal NDA is down. That means, and it sounds like it will be down for basically until the visual NDA drops in July as well. That's my understanding of the post Stephen made. But we will see. Yeah, well, I'm sure Steven will show us stuff in 10 days for the dev update. But yeah, so we can talk anything, and anyone who is a tester, a member of this weekend, we can talk about our experiences and all that. But I've got Super here chatting with me. So why don't I ask you, how was your experience?
It was fantastic. I can now say this and make the comparative statements because the lift of the NDA extends to any alpha testing.
Oh, and is that true? Did you get confirmation on that?
Yes, that was in the video. To backdate, so it's not just for this weekend, which is great because even with all of this new surge of people coming into testing, it's like trying to get people to understand the state of the game just 2 or 3 months ago versus where it is just this last weekend. And so it is just fantastic to be able to talk about like openly and not trying to speak in code and being like,
Well, I was saying this, like, we ended our test last night, and I was saying, I was testing with Axiom. So I'm considering joining Axiom. I'm testing with a couple other guilds, or trialing with a couple other guilds as well. But I was telling all of them, I was like, I'm going to be struggling here to figure out how much I know versus what is public information. I hope I don't slip up here, but no, this is awesome. And I think it aligns with their philosophy, right? It aligns with their philosophy of keeping open development. Even though they push back the NDA and stuff like that, and they're at least lifting this and letting us talk about it. So
no, absolutely. And I think it was a really good move. Just being able to talk about it. I totally understand the visual NDA still being there. Mm-hmm. And as somebody who's played the game for a little bit now, I completely and 100% agree with it. I don't think that the game is bad. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it is in a place, and there's basically just so much attention on the game that they need to make sure that their first view to the world is a good one. And so even though it is and I know it's hard for a lot of people to think that they are, being transparent and all this stuff when all these NDAs exist and whatnot, but the amount of pressure that's on them as a studio and a company to make the next greatest MMORPG, that first impression is absolutely important.
Yes. And just so people have an example of what he's saying, the first day of testing Friday, they were supposed to release this, or they were supposed to put the servers up at 11 a.m. PST. It kept getting pushed back due to technical difficulties. I think it got pushed back, finally went up around 3 p.m. PST, if I'm remembering correctly. So 4 hours of pushbacks. If the visual NDA had been dropped and people were streaming that, it would have been a shit show. People would have been complaining. People would have gotten a bad taste in their mouth, right? And then on top of that, on Friday, I would say only about 30% of people were even able to log in. These servers had a bunch of issues with login issues. And then probably an hour or two in, we got a bunch of rubber banding around the starting area, whether that was from logins or what. But then the awesome thing was they hotfixed it, they patched it, And Saturday, we logged in, 15 minutes earlier than 11 a.m. and everything worked great. There's a small amount of rubber banding in some areas, but like for an alpha, everything ran so smoothly from what I could tell. And what do you think about that, having done the previous tests?
I mean, I know from previous tests, the issues that we were experiencing that we saw at the beginning of the weekend were much more prevalent in previous early stage testing. When I say early stage testing, I mean like if we were testing for like a week or a weekend or something like that, those beginning issues would be there. So what I noticed going into it this time, and again, something I couldn't say because the NDA doesn't retroactive everybody who signs it. So I couldn't openly talk about it.
Yeah.
Is even though the rubber banding was bad, the whole time I was just thinking to myself, oh, you guys don't know bad.
Yeah. And
but on that same note, seeing the progress of I'm just going to use the word launch here. The launch of the alpha 3 or 4 months ago versus the launch of the alpha this last weekend, 1,000% better.
Okay,
and then exactly like you said, the hot fixes came in quickly. They recognized what the problem was. And one of the things that they did that I thought was very cool was they implemented quick fixes, which allowed the test to continue throughout the weekend. And while still gathering, so they're able to gather more data, more information, while also having a permanent fix figured out for it, but it would have required a test pushback for it to be completely implemented. So I think it was good that they continued with the testing. Yeah, the servers went down for 30 minutes every now and then, but at the same time, we could get up, go to the bathroom, hug our loved ones, and then crawl back in our cave.
Yeah. And so they had, I think, what was it, like 5 or 6 servers up to split up everyone. We were on Lineth, which is the default server. It's also the server that has been most used in previous tests. And I believe it was also the most populated server overall. So we had 4 large guilds on it. We had Legacy, we had Axiom, Envious, we had Checkmate, and then I think we had one other medium-sized guild. So we had a bunch of really big guilds on ours. But what server were you on?
We played on the Norlon server, and for anybody here who knows, we were aligned with the Wood Guild, which was born from a meme. And
we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's so much with that. What?
So yeah, And then Easkaruths, who is the editor for Simorg, and a good friend of mine, runs in a bunch of my D&D sessions. He was posting these daily updates on what Wood 1 versus Wood 2 was doing. Oh, it was so great. I was just laughing. But yeah, for those who don't know, there's this glitch in Discord. So like we have our NDA channels in Discord for testing, and basically they have announcements channels, and originally they were allowing basically reactions in the announcements channel. So people were putting up different reactions, but then they decided it was getting too much and like going crazy. So they deleted all the reactions except for this one post, which had a wood emote on it. And the wood, like basically it was lagging behind so much because it kept going up and down and disappearing and going back up and disappearing, going back up. And this went on for like probably 20 minutes, and we're all waiting for the servers to come up. So we're all just sitting in Discord watching this thing and just laughing, and everyone being like, click it again, get it back up there. And then a bunch of people who had no guild affiliations, so publics, decided to create their own guild, and they just called themselves Wood. And yeah, it was great. But okay, let's go to chat here a little bit. How's the game feel? Asks Six Foggles. I mean, I thought it felt great. I would say, once again, the focus of this test is still backend. A lot of the systems in place are placeholders. The UI, the mini map are all basically just placeholders. But yeah, when you were out there exploring, the world is just gorgeous. Everything was running smooth. Basically, what would happen is over time, if you had too many people in the area, it would start to lag. So there's something going on in the server where, like, if too many people are doing stuff, it starts to bog it down. But as soon as you got out, split up again, it would be fine. And I'll go into a little more explanation. But Super, what did you think once again? Because you have the base knowledge of what happened previously. How's the game feel to you now?
I think one thing that has always amazed me about the testing is because I think too many times we see a video come out in a developer update like the one we're currently watching, and then you get into the game and the movement, the combat, nothing really feels like what you would imagine it feeling like while watching the video. For this, it is completely opposite. What you see is literally what you get. Like, they are playing on the same stuff that we're playing on, besides maybe on a different build of it. But the game felt great. It has felt great. I mean, even from the earlier stages of testing, it has really kind of always felt great. Some of the combat has been worked on over time, and to my knowledge, and this is just speculation, there isn't any official word in any direction on it, but the combat revamp is maybe coming in soon. So I mean, a lot of the concerns that people have had are actively being addressed through the alpha testing, and I would assume are just based on how quickly they respond to stuff in the alpha testing is going to protrude forward into the official alpha one.
Yeah, and so I mean, I have a 3090, so obviously I'm running on like the best of the best, but we were on Lineth, and we actually broke the server. We could not level up our nodes after a certain point. We got 2 nodes to level 2, and then that happened in the first 2 hours of Saturday. So we had a wipe in between Friday and Saturday. The first 2 hours we were testing on Saturday, we got Nala, which is the far right node, and we got what is it, Sand something? It's like the left turn base node up to level 2. And then we spent just the next 2 days doing nothing but farming. And we were like, okay, maybe. And then everyone else is like, that I'm talking to, all my friends are like, yeah, we've already got a level 3 node. We've already got this. And everyone is like, what is going on? And finally, 5 hours into the test on Sunday, they kept telling us, well, just keep trying this, try this to see if it levels up, because they were trying to gather data. Finally, they're like, Toast makes a post in our specific NDA Lineth channel, the server channel. It was like, we have a hero coming for you. And then 5 minutes later, we get big letters across the screen. So I hear there are problems, and it's Steven coming riding in. And Steven just goes through and just levels 3 different nodes to level 3 for us. So we're all just running back to the node to try and buy property and all this other stuff. But basically, we broke the server, and so it was a lot of fun trying to figure out. We were trying everything. They're like, oh, maybe only monsters below level 11 are giving experience and all this other stuff. But yeah, it was awesome. But then at one point, so Steven was playing around on our server for a while. At one point on Lineth, he spawns every single person in the server into the siege zone where the 3 dragons are. And what my point there was, I was talking about the 3090. So the server started having issues at one point, and it took me so everyone was spawned in this ball, right? And it took me probably about 15 seconds to load in. But once I loaded in and ran away from the ball, my FPS was still running at 60 to 90 frames a second. I couldn't tell how high it was because there's no checker, but my FPS was great. However, at a certain point, the server started going crazy. Yeah, I think as long as you have a half decent graphics card coming up, you should be able to run even siege stuff, as long as the server can keep up with, and that's what they're working on. But yeah,
there was a question about combat in chat.
Sorry, I was ranting.
No, you're good. You're good. No, this is why the people are here, man. They want to hear it all.
Hear it all. But okay, what was the question? Can you
just how did combat feel? How did combat feel?
Okay. Why don't you go first?
I think I'm fairly certain because there was some overlap in some animation. And so I think a lot of the combat animation is sort of placeholder at the moment. Besides some pretty standard alpha bugs, like you stun a target and then you can't hit it for the duration that it's stunned. That was kind of annoying on the mage, but and it would only happen with like small bodied targets.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to ask you what class you were playing. So we have 3 classes available: mage, cleric, and tank, just so people are aware.
But I mean, the combat itself, I feel like I've played other games that have launched that have had not as smooth combat. And that's not to say like, oh, some AAA studio, some indie game, like, no, there have been WoW launches with worse combat than what we've experienced.
Yeah,
so
Schmeek said it right. There are a few things that obviously need to be tweaked, and they're supposed to do a full combat overhaul. And I think the skills we have for each of the 3 classes, the main skills are probably placeholders. I mean, when you're leveling up to 50, I'm guessing they're going to have to add in a bunch more. I was playing cleric. I played battle cleric, which meant I went down the left side of the tree. So I basically went like for damage abilities. So I had a smite ability, castigation, which is the whip you've already seen, and then divine censor, which is like the throw your javelin, and then they get a debuff where you can heal yourself. But I would say I liked how they felt different from a lot of MMOs. I felt like the abilities were not just your standard, here's your standard. I mean, every class has an AoE, has a a single target, and like it felt new and different. But I will say, just like he said, the auto attacks locked you in place. So like if you're a button masher like me, there'd be times you'd already have killed something and you'd still have like 2 auto attacks going off because like you're just kind of locked there. Yeah, that's but overall, I see the potential. The other thing to note that I saw a lot of comments in the Discord, people saying, oh, this combat doesn't feel that great. You got to remember that they're balancing combat around 8v8, right? So you're looking at group combat. So things like body blocking and a lot of these abilities are going to feel so like when people are talking about, especially some of the animation locking when you cast an actual ability as opposed to auto attack, that may not feel that bad when you're always fighting in group content. But what do you think?
I mean, I feel like I've seen I've seen the alpha meta shift just over the course of a couple of months. I mean, there was a time logging in where if you weren't playing a mage, what were you doing with your life? And so I mean, this time around, it was nice to see a little bit more of a reason, I guess, to play the other classes as well. But I mean, from the group balancing side of stuff and how all of that's going to play out. I mean, we haven't seen too much of that in the test. I mean, they're obviously very far from a balancing stage or anything like that. But with the classes that are in and the skills that whether or not they actually stay into launch. I mean, that's the thing too, is everything that we're talking about. The little asterisk here is subject to change. But I mean, overall, when it came to any kind of class balancing or anything like that, it felt good. Even this early on, there was a sense of a need for a tank. There was a sense of a need for a healer and having a well-balanced group.
So it was interesting, and I want to touch on what Alarian said here, where mana pools are too small and mana consumption is too high. Once we progressed, we found that not at all. And just as you were saying, Super, as long as you had a cleric in your group casting castigation, and as long as you were working enough, whatever the mana leech from mages into your rotation, they were doing fine as well. But we definitely found the optimal group was a tank, a cleric, and a mage for farming. You were getting enough experience from higher level mobs that you were killing to be quick, but you weren't. Yeah, you basically never had to stop. Like when we had those, like a group of 3 like that, we were just running around like crazy, doing great. And then also, I mean, I'm sure you guys experienced this, but the sharpened spear meta. Did you guys find that?
Oh yeah, no, that spear was beyond amazing. I mean, it would literally take your free attack hit from 8 to 9 to 10 damage all the way up to 80, 90 to 100 damage, depending on what you were fighting. So
there's one item that you could buy at a level tier or a tier 2 node that would just, I mean, it was overpowered. It was ridiculous. You could literally just like, I mean, I knew a bunch of mages. They're like, I don't even use my spells anymore. I just like gather up 3 things and AoE them down with this spear that's doing, 90 some damage a hit. But it also gave you a shitload of mana too. So, yeah. And that was the other thing. So, Decryptor, I don't know if I'm saying your name properly or not, but as he said, so Steven, after he was done screwing around with us, teleporting us around the map and doing weird things to test the server, was like, well, he broke a bunch of characters. Some characters fell through the map and they couldn't even like port them back. So he basically just like bricked, like I would say probably 10 people's characters. So he's like, all right, well, make a new character and then I'm going to level everyone in the server up to level 15. So we just got like, I had already grinded to like 10 and a half or whatever, but we just got auto leveled to 15. And after that, like, I mean, we only had like, things were a joke to fight. We were just running around killing like 15s and 2 hits and stuff like that. So the level progression felt really good, at least from my standpoint. And then I'm talking about level progression before we just got auto leveled. But like, how did you feel about, did you feel like as you leveled up and got new gear, stuff progressed and you felt like you'd accomplished something?
More so this time around than previous tests.
Okay.
In previous tests, there was no questing. And as you know, the questing is, if you do your initial quest run, I guess I won't necessarily say correctly, but in a way that we found to be the most efficient, that you could very quickly get to level 5 or 6 within the first 2-3 hours, somewhere around in there, and then you kind of grind out for the rest. So previously it was, I mean, you were basically out on a beach somewhere killing crabs for 12 hours straight, and then you come back the next day and you do it again, and then you're max level. So I mean, obviously knowing that all of the quests are placeholder, there's no balancing for XP, none of that is in place yet. The quick jump for myself, having been someone who's leveled multiple characters the very, very, very slow way, I felt satisfaction from that, because it was like, okay, cool, I don't need to spend 12 to 16 hours of gameplay just leveling just so I can go out and test some bigger stuff. So in that way it was impactful, but the actual kind of it did feel a little bit too fast. But again, I mean, it was testing. I'm pretty sure that was done on purpose. Probably a little bit of testing of the questing system.
So it's interesting. I heard a bunch of people complaining about how they thought the leveling was too slow. Which was interesting to me, because I was like, I've gotten level, like, as I said, I got 10 and a half about 2 hours into Sunday. So we had 2 days of testing. I had 10 and a half into 2 days of Sunday, or 2 hours of Sunday. So I would say you're probably looking about 10 to 12 hours of gameplay. I was level 10 and a half. And I was like, remember Steven has said it's going to be 45 hours of 45 days of 6 hours a day to get to max level. Like, I'm pretty sure this is somewhat accurate for early levels, actually.
I think this might actually be fast, honestly, what we experienced.
I could see that as well. So let's catch up on chat here. Odd to find that early on you felt stronger as opposed to WoW, where mana management becomes harder, mobs take increasingly longer, and so on. You felt growth instead of regression. I did not feel that, Alarian. Did you upgrade your gear? Did you get to a level 2 node and upgrade your gear? Because I definitely felt like I progressed very drastically. Like when I hit that level 5 mark, I was able to get that new spear with a shitload of extra mana on it and stuff like that. I felt great. And the other thing I would say, and tell me if you agree, Super, I played with like a big organized guild. If you're playing without that many people and an organization system, I could see, especially in the alpha where there isn't that much content, things kind of tapering off and not feeling as good or as interesting.
I agree. I mean, I think, and I mean, there was a moment in one of the videos, one of the Q&As that Steven had, I think with one of the bigger streamers at one point, you know, either Shroud or Tim or Asmon or something, where somebody had asked a question of what is this game going to offer to me as a solo player? Somebody asked. And, you know, is there going to be content that I'm not going to be able to experience because of that? And his answer, though not, you know, what every solo player wanted to hear, stuck true to what he's trying to provide within the game. And that's a community-led group gaming experience. It's not it's a massively multiplayer online game. It is intended to be played with other people. That being said, I do think that there are going to be paths for people to kind of do what they want on their own, but you will be missing out on stuff. And you even, like you said, see that within the alpha. The most fun I had was when our guild, or the group, the guild that I'm trialing with, and then Wood grouped up, and we went out and we just went to every named boss we could, and we tried to kill all of them. Like, that was the most fun within the testing. I mean, I'm a strong believer that testing isn't necessarily supposed to be fun, but moments like that definitely help. And, you know, you want to enjoy your testing experience, but you're there to do work. You're not there to necessarily have fun. Yeah. But, you know, I'm a grumpy old guy like that. So,
and once again, this goes back to Steven's philosophy, right? He knows his vision for the game, and he's going to create a game for his audience. He's not going to wishy-wash. He's not going to go back and forth. He's like, this is the game we're creating. There is an audience for it, clearly, with the hype, right? And this is what we're creating. We're not going to go back and forth. There will be solo content. You can play solo. It's just not going to be as optimal. And yeah, unfortunately, there's going to be content you can't do. It's just like any other MMO. If you want to play solo, you're not going to get to like mythic raids and stuff like that. It's just, and the fact that he's going to stick to it, at least from what we see, he's going to stick to his guns, and it is going to be a more hardcore experience. It's going to be something you actually have to earn. So when you earn it, you feel like you actually accomplished something, is great. And then, go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, even on that same note, I would argue the point of not that anybody's made it, but if anybody is a solo player and is concerned about it, I would argue the point and say, I mean, if you do a comparative solo gameplay to what I think Ashes is going to be, based on what they're trying to do with the crafting system, what they're trying to do with questing and progression and all that different stuff, I think you might actually have a more impactful experience solo in Ashes than you would in, say, WoW. Because even in WoW, you have to group up to do high level PvP stuff. You have to group up to do high level PvE stuff, which me being me, I agree with that side of stuff. I don't think you should just be able to go in and solo a 40-man raid boss just because you want to play solo in an MMO. So I think people will be pleasantly surprised, hopefully, crossing fingers, with the amount of solo content that is available. I just think that the grouping and the guild and the guilding and the community building and all of that stuff is going to take what previous MMORPGs have tried to do and propel it even further forward. But I have high hopes for Asher. So.
What I will say about the solo player is they can play without any, like, I would say, official affiliations, but the way Ashes works in terms of how you have a physical location that is like your home base, and how, just like in real life, you will develop communities and relationships with other people who live close to you. I think the solo player is going to have to, you can't just solo. You have to, like, have a social experience and have relationships with other people around, whether that be guilds, other crafters, other players. So it won't be as solo of an experience as some other people believe, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's not going to be Skyrim. It's not going to be an offline RPG. It's not going to be pure solo where you're where you're king dingaling of whatever town you're running through. Like, there's going to be other people. There's going to be other people who are better than you. And if you want to be on the same level as some other people, you have to do the same things that they're doing. And a lot of the stuff that they're doing is group-related content.
Yeah, and I don't want to stop this discussion, but just for viewers, I'm putting a pin in coming back to EXP debt. We will definitely talk about that one. Because
I actually wanted to hit that one too.
Yeah, we will definitely hit that.
And this one.
Yeah, but yeah. So what are you saying, Chi or Bree, in terms of it felt slow for solo? You felt leveling was slower, or what are you saying there? Because I mean, there are plenty of times. So we found that a bunch of us decided, hey, we want to farm a bunch of gold. And because we wanted to buy, like, when we got to tier 3, we wanted to buy a house, we wanted to buy our mounts, we wanted to buy whatever else, like any crafting recipes or anything like that. Granted, crafting was kind of bugged. We didn't really get a chance to test that. But so we wanted to farm a bunch of gold, and what we found as a guild was humanoid NPCs dropped way more shards, and shards are what you got, and once you brought it back to the town, you could sell it for gold. Whenever you died, you dropped half of your shards. So that was kind of like the placeholder for these these trophies that they're calling them, which are like hides and meats and, like, whatever they are, that you'll potentially use in caravans and all that. So you could drop 50% of it. But we found that, like, just going solo and heading out and killing like level 7 to 10 humanoids was the best way to farm. The XP was similar in terms of what we were getting in party. Probably not quite as efficient as killing level 15s in a group of 3, but we were getting so much gold from it. But yeah, I mean, I felt like I could level pretty quickly as a solo. But you played alone. Go ahead. Sorry. I was just going to read what Bree is saying, but you go ahead and then we'll read it out.
Yeah, just in response to I got to level 6 by the end of the test. I know a lot of, like, the experience beforehand going into this alpha definitely served me. But on the other side of that, I had a level 10 and a half, 2 level 8s, and a level 7 before the end of the test. Now, Golden Feather, I know you guys are probably a little bit busier than I am, so the amount of time played was probably different. You guys being content creators, but I think that as with anything, with any game, honestly, there's always a little bit of a min-maxing. Yeah. I played solo for the majority of it. There were a couple of people who were in our guild who showed up started testing later, or they started a day later or 2 days later. And I basically grabbed them. We dropped into another channel, and we were like, and I was basically like, yo, but I hopped on a new character, ran them through stuff, and help get them caught up. But outside of that, and then the trying to go and kill every named boss on the last day, I was purely solo. And then a lot of that came from, a lot of the people that I was playing with in the test hadn't tested before. Yeah. And so instead of, being the grumpy old guy who's over here like, no, that's not the optimal way to do it, like just letting everybody experience their time, have fun, and just kind of went off and did my own thing.
And that's it for me. There were guilds that were min-maxing to the hard. And like we kind of asked that not we, but like, as I said, I was playing with Axiom, and the guild leaders kind of proposed that question. How did you feel we played this alpha? Did you feel good? And Axiom, and myself included, like one of the reasons I'm potentially going to join them is because our values line up. I'm not trying to be the sweatiest min-maxer ever. I want to enjoy my experience, but I also want to play hard enough to accomplish goals, right? I don't want to just be out there not able to get things done and everyone's off doing whatever the hell they feel like. It's like, okay, we have some group goals, let's all spend 3 or 4 hours trying to level up this node. Then it's like, okay, let's form a raid and go around, or you can go off and farm some gold or do whatever you want to do, and just have fun with it, experience different things. And there are definitely guilds that don't do that. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? If that's how you enjoy playing the game, enjoy that. But yeah, it was the same for me. We spent a bunch of time just kind of figuring out how to level quickly. So for those who weren't in the test, basically experience was split evenly. So if a mob gave 350 experience and you had 3 people in the group, it was split in thirds. That's how much EXP you got. So if you were killing level 15 mobs, they gave significantly more EXP than some of the lower level stuff. So it was a fit. Like we found, as I said, we found a group of 3 was efficient as long as you could farm in the area quickly enough that you were never just like running around looking for mobs. But we also found that if you were willing to go, as I said, kill levels 7 to 10s instead of like 13 to 15s by yourself, after you got the good gear and you were clearing efficiently, the EXP was pretty comparable. But yeah, as I said, at a certain point, we just gave up on that and did exactly what you guys did, just ran around. Were you guys able to get into the raid?
No. We were informed that there was so yes and no. Some people were able to glitch themselves into the raid area. Okay. But we were informed that there was a legitimate way to get in there. And I don't know if any other server happened upon that, but I know Norlon never opened the gate to the raid.
Yeah, from what we were told, you had to level up the node that the raid was in, which is the bottom right. I forget what it's called. It's not Mist. It's Winstead. Winstead. Yeah, you had to level Winstead up to level 3.
See, we did that though. That was our only level 3 node, and it never opened for us.
And it never opened for us either. I was trolling Steven in Global when he was still on our server. I was like, "We're all standing in front of the raid. It's not open. Can you teleport us in here or do something?" He didn't respond, but I'm sure you had a lot going on there. But I was like, "Come on, port us in. We want to fight this dragon." Especially because at that point we were all level 15 because Steven had just auto leveled us.
Yeah. Something I can say now, finally, hooray, is I have done the raid, and we had 2. Well, I guess at the time, so it was the guild I was in at the time, their aligned / sister guild, and then I think another group of 2 guilds on the Linux server. So that might give you an idea of what guilds I'm talking about here. And I think we maybe had about 50 to 60 people for the encounter, and we killed it. I think we probably killed each other more than than killing the actual boss itself, just because of how the flagging works at the moment, and AoE accidentally triggering people getting flagged, and next thing you know, you're nuking people who aren't in your raid party, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And the raid was it was a very fun experience. It was one that we have seen in the videos before.
Yes. Yeah. Big fire.
And and the room is super cool. The dungeon up to it is really cool.
Yeah, we got into the dungeon and ran down. The thing is massive. It is so cool. Yeah.
And I mean, going through the dungeon, I just see so many different places that enemy combatants could be hiding and waiting just to try to ruin your day. But at the same time, in a game like Ashes, that's part of the fun of it too. You don't just need to bring your raid party, you need to bring your PvP defensive party too.
Oh yes.
It's a 40-man raid is actually going to be a 60-man raid, because you need those 20 extra people just to watch your back while you're trying to take the boss down. But
yeah. And Bree Golden Feather is saying she was on Nimue. We were calling it Noma Nomae. But yeah. So here's a cool thing. So as I said, Steven was messing around on our server. At a certain point, he ported us all into the siege area, which is a completely separate area from the testing zone that has the 3 dragons we saw on the test. We ran in, we grouped up. There were over I would say probably 300 some players probably in this little testing area. As I said, in terms of graphics on my 3090, which is, obviously way more than most players will have, although by the time the game releases in 2 years, it might be something that is the next generation, the 3090 will probably cost, or specs in terms of 3090 will probably cost $600-700, which is doable. I had no issues frame rates. So we ran in with 300 people. We swarmed the fire dragon, got it down real quick. And then we all ran and swarmed the ice dragon. And as we were getting that down, the server started going a little crazy, and we were getting rubber banding and a bunch of lag and all that. But then Steven ported almost everyone out of the raid. There were, I believe our guildmate said, there were 8 to 10 people left over after he ported everyone out. And Steven took them on a mini tour of the entire little siege zone. So he took them into the castle, showed them that stuff, and they were able to get on the ballista on the castle walls and shoot the ballista. And they were able to arc it up and hit the forest dragon, which was the last one left. And yeah, he just gave him a little private tour of the whole siege area, which I'm assuming we'll see at some point. But yeah, it was super cool hearing all of that. And I was just jealous. I was like, why couldn't I have been one of those 10? But, obviously. But yeah, it was interesting. So seeing that. And then when we were in the siege area, they had the big trebuchets. And you couldn't actually board them or anything. But if you ran into them with a mount or something, you could see them shift a little. So you could tell they were an object in the world that could move. So that was super cool as well. Yeah. I'm just trying to think right now about everything. It was crazy.
Well, let's go back to the EXP debt. How did you feel about the current implementation? And then I have some comments about what it was versus what it is, and would like your opinion on that.
I am a little concerned about PvP EXP debt. If you were flagged when you died in PvP, you lost 10% of your level.
Well, you gained the EXP debt.
Yes, you gained the EXP debt, but if you were not flagged when you died, you lost about, I think it was 30 to 40%. It was drastically more if you didn't flag up. If you died to PvE, I believe it was about 20% EXP debt. And then here was the crazy thing that kind of bugged me out a little, was 40% from environmental death. Straight, so falling off a cliff and dying, which was frustrating because there are times where I rubber band, I think I died 3 times total in the alpha. As I said, we were grouped up. We were playing it smart and safe, but I died 3 times total. 1 was my fault. The other 2 were rubber banding till I died. I literally would just fall, take damage, rubber band, fall, take damage, and then that happened to me twice till I died, and then it was 40% EXP debt. And when we were saying leveling was slow, it was not fast. I also think it's going to be slower in game, right? PvP EXP debt is a disincentive. Yeah, I remember in City of Heroes raid EXP debt could be brutal recovering it. Yeah, exactly. And I want it to be punishing. I'm just concerned, like,
the current system punishes people who weren't doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel, as I said, like, not fighting back when someone just wants to kill you while you're just trying to level, and you're going to punish more than if you just fought back. I like that at max level. I'm not sure how I feel about it when you just want to level, man. Like, you want to progress. So.
Well, and I'll say that I feel as though I can say with confidence that there's no way in hell that that's going to be the actual system.
Yeah.
Even for some insight, the EXP debt system, you would lose level, like actually lose experience before. You would go back a level, you'd lose the skill points gained. You were actually very severely punished for dying, regardless of how you died. So going from that to, now you just have a little red bar you need to work off. That was way better. I mean, it obviously very much disincentivized you to not die, but it was better. And that being the case, I only see it getting better. And again, I mean, it's alpha. Like, what we have been playing, in my opinion, is a skin that allows us to do something while we're testing the servers.
Yeah.
We're not really going into, there's a ton of data being gathered on the back end that we don't even see, that I think has been the most impactful for this game overall.
Yeah. And I was just gonna real quick say, hey, what's up to Wizzy? Thanks for stopping by. I saw you over in Fayne's stream, so I'm sure you got a lot of what was going on over on our server on Lineth from him, because he's an Axiom, and he's who I was playing with, so that was fun.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. Hi, Mom. Someone posted on my... I like this. This is kind of new for the forums, right? That when someone posts on something, a
little notification pop up.
A little notification. Yeah. We can go address that at a later date. But what I was gonna say is that, I agree. A lot of people, and this is the idea, like, where the alpha is a buy-in, and it's like a lot of people aren't necessarily have not tested an alpha or anything like that before. They're not realizing, like, I saw a bunch of complaints about how the mini map was working, because there was no there were no geography details on the mini map, and it was just showed where every monster was and all this stuff. And I'm just like, this stuff is all placeholder. What they're doing right now is testing the back end. And that's what I also made this comment. I was like, it's a good thing they pushed the visual NDA back, because I think people will be fine with seeing these bugs. I think they will be fine with seeing graphic and visual bugs, and whatever other bugs happen in the game. But if you can't log into the server, if there's severe rubber banding, severe lag, anything like that, that is the major thing that turns people off from a game. And those people that don't understand, hey, this is an alpha. This is literally what we're testing. This is why we're, have you guys in here, is to test this. That is what is going to potentially give a bad taste in the mouth to the community, right?
So I'm going to, instead of linking it to you, I'm just going to copy and paste it into your chat here. If you are concerned about the state of the testing, read this sentence and move on, and we'll see you when the game launches. I mean, I can't. With how often Steven has stressed this, like, it is a test.
Yeah,
I have tested throughout the years, and the fact Sorry, I'm gonna I'll hop off my pedestal in a moment here.
Rant away. That's what this is for. Like, I will rant, you will rant. Yeah, rant away.
Some of the complaints, like you stated, about the mini map and different stuff like that, I hear it and I go, okay, take your refund and move on. Like, this is obviously not for you. Like, and that's fine. Like, but at the same time, and the fact that this is even provided, do you know how many tests I've had to pay into and you can't get a refund because you're like...
Well, I do just want to point out, we did, I believe it was Fupo, got confirmation from Toast or Maggie or someone that you're technically not allowed to get the refund after you have applied it to your account and used the item. Is the way the refund policy is worded. So I don't know if you actually get into the test if you're allowed to straight refund.
I mean, sure, either way. I mean,
I feel like there's probably a cutoff. Like, if after this test or after Friday where you couldn't get in, you decided you wanted a refund, they're probably not going to argue, right? They don't need your money. That's what they've said. They don't need your money. They're selling the alpha because... honestly, it's the fairest way to get people into the alpha.
Well, not even just that, but it shows a sense of commitment to it. I think the price being where it is, which if you actually break it down, isn't actually $500. Yes, you're spending $500, but the actual price for just the test alone is not that.
I also want to confirm this. Wait, Wizzy, you got into Alpha 1? Last I talked, you weren't going to buy Alpha 1.
She surprised all of us. We were literally sitting in the NDA Discord, and then she like just hops into the channel, and you have to have a confirmed purchase to get in there.
Yeah.
And so she just hopped in. I'm like, what the hell are you doing here, Wizzy?
That's awesome. And yeah, I agree. The state of the game was further ahead than I actually expected. As I said, I have done real alpha tests before. I've done a bunch of the New World alpha tests, which, they have the money to make sure the servers are right, but their gameplay loop is just terrible. So, the fact that the gameplay loop at this early of a stage is already giving me so much hope, and I'm looking at it and being like, I feel like I actually accomplished stuff in alpha, and I felt proud of that. Like, and this is just the placeholder for what you can actually accomplish. Was like, okay, I see the value here, right? Like, oh my God, yeah. It's
but I mean, I think the price is a little bit of a, I mean, this probably isn't the right phrasing. It's just the first thing that comes into my mind, but a little bit of a gatekeeping method.
Yes.
If you're serious about wanting to test, and you're serious and also supporting the game further, then you can, if you have the disposable money to be able to spend $500 on a test, then and you're serious about it, then go for it. If not, that's fine. The game is funded. Like, between everybody who's spent however much they've spent, you take all of that, you can get rid of all of that. The game is still funded. Like, it's not about getting the game funded. I think it's about making sure that we have people in the testing who actually want to be there.
Yeah, and when you look at it as well, like, how else are you going to do open alpha when they need more testers? You can charge money, and with the hype, people are going to pay it. And as you said, people are more willing, people who have $500 to spend are more committed. They're more willing to make sure this game succeeds. The other aspect as well is, like, you're not getting the high schooler. A high schooler doesn't have $500 to spend on a game. You're getting, and it's that same aspect of they're committed, right? And how much, how many high schoolers, and I'm sorry if you're a high schooler out there, I'm not trying to shit talk you, but like, how many high schoolers are going to be that committed to the point where they're posting bugs, where they have the maturity to understand, hey, this is an alpha, we're testing this alpha. I can see all the problems, but I'm not like gonna go out and shit talk the game because it's not. Yeah, and as Wizzy said, $500, you're a lot less likely to break alpha or break NDA.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm over here just trying to to give people a sense of how confident I am in this game and it be going to release. I mean, that's I think such a big hurdle for a lot of people. Maybe not a lot of people in this chat, but a lot of people who I mean, how many and actually to the people in the chat, how many times have you been burned by a Kickstarter? Like the debate right now, in my opinion, is the game going to be good? The debate that a lot of people have and the hesitation that a lot of people have is the game going to be released, or is this going to turn into another, legal battle or
Chronicles of Illyria?
Yeah. So it's like, I get it. And I understand. I mean, this is the only one that I have backed from, like, that's been a Kickstarter. I've backed other games, but they've come from, already reputable, developers and, not just a group of guys seemingly out of nowhere. So, I mean, I think it's...
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the same story for everyone, right? We have all been sitting there like, I am so bored with MMOs now. They're all the same. They all have the same problems. They're all frustrating. And then just like hearing the backing behind Ashes, and like I got in on the Lazy Peon video, the July one, I believe. So a little later than the first one. So I'm definitely late to the party compared to some people. But I saw that. I did a bunch of like research into basically the team, right? I did a bunch of research into the team of Intrepid to see, kind of like what the experience was, all of this. And I was like, let's put it this way. Steven is not putting $40 million into paying these people just to scam us, because they've got a lot of amazing people. When you look at like the LinkedIns and all this of like a lot of their lead developers, like they've got impressive backgrounds. I was like, yeah, he's not in this to just scam the community. But yeah,
I love Steven. I think he is the MMORPG's Elon Musk.
Yeah,
I think he's our little gem, which is fantastic to have. But Steven isn't what sold me on the game. It was the developers. It was, not to say that Steven's not a developer, but it was the seasoned developers that came onto the team, like you, doing the research, looking into the people, looking into the legitimacy of what they've done, and that's ultimately what sold me. It doesn't take much to sell me on a good game idea, but for me to actually put my money where my mouth is, essentially, in supporting something, it takes more than a good game idea. And I think that having the people that they have definitely helped with. I mean, I know it helped with that for me 100%. So, I mean, Ashes, it's a great game in concept. Intrepid, I will back that studio until I die.
I will say Steven's passion and what Steven said got me onto the game. But as you said, what actually sold me was looking down and doing my research. And I'm going to let you guys read this just as an unpopular opinion. This is my philosophy on how other MMOs are going wrong. I mean, it's in terms of the specific dev discussion. I just posted it today. But this kind of like... This is why I believe other MMOs are starting to fail, is because they're trying to pigeonhole you into stuff. But you can read that. But I want to address what Wizzy said. How did it feel to you overall? Are you talking about the alpha in general? If you're talking about that, what I would say is, as I said, I already felt like I had a sense of accomplishment for what I did today. Or what I did this weekend. Like when I accomplished something, I felt like things were progressing. I felt like, and as I said, I was a part of a big group that we're all working hard towards something. So we felt like we were accomplishing something when we did it already. And so that gave it, like, as I said, the big thing that I love about this game is the scope, the hard work, all of that is what sold me on this game, is the fact that it's not easy. To get something done, you have to work hard. You have to work with your friends. And then when you come out after succeeding, you feel like you have really accomplished something. You really do. And the fact that that's already in there with a bunch of placeholder systems so they can test the back end is just like, yeah, I see the scope of this game. Kira Cosmo, thanks for the follow. Welcome in. I hope you're doing well today. Alarion, so Supernova is chatting. Jersey, thanks for the follow. Thank you, everyone. Snake Shift, thank you for the follow. But yeah, Supernova, he's another guy he's been in like all the tests, right? You backed the Kickstarter and you've been in all the tests since.
I got in post Kickstarter. I got in during the Intrepid pack update. So I got in on the first round of the re-release of the Alpha 1.
Yeah, and you are a stay-at-home dad for the cutest kid in the world. But you also are a streamer as well. So let me give a shout out here to, I believe it's SooperTCG.
Yep. Appreciate it.
But yeah, so Super is awesome. He streams as well. He does a bunch of Pokemon trading card streams, but he will also be streaming Ashes when the visual NDA and all that is released. So definitely check him out. Drop him a follow. He's an awesome guy. Witch Space, thanks for the follow as well. Yeah, welcome in, guys. So just a little, I took 2 months off of work to really focus on doing content creation. And I literally confirmed that I was taking the two weeks off last Monday at about 10 a.m. About 3 hours later, Steven posts the thing about the NDA not being dropped. And I was like, well, shit. I mean, as I said, don't get me wrong. I understand why it happened and all that. I'm not upset. I'm still going to be focused on doing as much content as I can. But my dream and my goal here is to do full-time Ashes of Creation content. So I've got a bunch of videos in the works now. And yeah, I'll be streaming off and on whenever I can. And then we also do D&D streams as well. So yeah, Murphy's Law, exactly. And as I said, it's not a big deal. For those who don't know me, I helped my brother open a distillery here in our town. So yeah, you see me drinking right now. This is all Super's fault. This is also our distillery, Idlewild Spirits, but it's all Super's fault. One of my channel points is pour yourself a drink. I claim the right to refuse to pour a drink. I will say that, but I will refund your points and do it some other time. But he did it as soon as I started my stream, and I was like, it's a little early, but you know what? The news is so good.
It's a day worth drinking.
Yeah, it's a day worth drinking. Yeah. Are you drinking? Are you? Do you have an old fashioned in your hand right now, Super?
I do not. So
I'm just drinking alone. True alcoholism here.
You're not alone. You're just the only one drinking.
Yeah. Better than a drinking game based around the word NDA. That's fair. Yeah. But no, as I said, I was a craft cocktail bartender for years. I went to school for computer science, and then I was like, you know what? I don't really enjoy sitting in front of a computer for 50 hours a week. I need more social. Moved back home with my parents, and next thing I knew, I was like, they're like, you need to get a job and figure out what you want to do. I was like, yeah, that's fair. I definitely need to get a job. So I ended up in the service industry. I started bartending, started doing craft cocktail bartending. And then I managed a couple of different craft cocktail bars. And then I helped my brother open and manage his craft cocktail program. And the way I look at it is streaming is just like bartending. It's almost the same freaking thing. Like, you just talk with people, have a good time. You end up with a community of awesome friends and awesome people. Like, I'm like, this is the perfect jump up. So yeah, my goal is to be full time. We'll see what happens overall, but so keep an eye out.
I think you can do it.
Yeah, I hope so. But keep an eye out for videos and all that. Where's the bartender RP at? Oh, just wait. We got to get Ashes released with the taverns. Then I'll come in and bartender RP. You know what? I need to start working on donation goals. And one of them might be a bartending stream where I show you guys all how to make cool drinks. But part of the issue with that is then I have to buy a bunch of fancy liquor, which is not cheap. So there needs to be a donation goal.
I'd be down to watch that. That would be awesome.
as I said, I can make every classic cocktail drink. I can make, every martini, every old fashioned, Manhattans. I mean, bees knees, aviations. I don't know. I could go on for hours, but I won't. Enough talking about myself. Let's get back to Ashes.
I got a two-part question here for you.
Sure.
What was your least favorite part of the entire experience outside of servers being an issue? So the actual, kind of the content within the game. And then on the other side, what was your favorite part of the testing experience?
My least favorite was looting. Just straight up trying to loot monsters. Yeah. So for those who don't know, when you loot, you have to hold down the E button and a little wheel spins around. And I would say it's probably about a second long. And then the loot window opens up and then you have to click on the thing. As I said, in the first 2 hours of Sunday morning, I farmed 450 greater shards. And because I was trying to get enough money to buy a house and all that, and then the house bugged out when I bought it, but we won't go into that right now. But I was trying to get enough money to buy the house, buy the mount, all this other stuff. But literally sitting there and watching the wheel spin and then having to click on it and all this other stuff constantly, it got annoying. It got real annoying. And I don't want area loot. I'm a big time, what I would say, action RPG player. And there's a huge debate in action RPGs like Path of Exile of how much you should have to click in terms of looting. Well, when you have to click, it puts a value to what you're clicking on. There's a time value, which I am fine with to a certain degree. I don't think there should be area loot where you pick one thing up and all of it just vacuums into you or whatever. But yes, I will also say I don't want to sit there and watch the little wheel turn every single monster I kill and then also have to click the button. I think WoW before they put in the vacuum area loot was fine. I think just click it once. It opens up the window, then goes to your backpack. I think that's fine personally. But yeah, it got real annoying when you're trying to farm toad.
I think on that note, I'm definitely on the other side of it. Playing Diablo 3 and you talk about click and loot. I know what you're saying when, putting a time value on it, but I think most of that gets deconstructed just for material, and I don't know. I feel like it's more of a waste of time than a potential added value, or at least if it does add value, it's a small amount. I would be fine if it didn't just automatically pull it all to my bag, like an auto loot system. I'd be fine if that wasn't there. But I think being able to area loot, see everything that's there, and then click what you want, I think that would be a little bit of a good middle ground.
I'm actually okay with that reversal where it's not an auto vacuum after you click on it, but it does pull everything in the area in there, and then you have to click on it. Yeah, I'm kind of okay with that.
Just the auto loot versus the area loot, I guess. Yeah.
And then there's the other aspect too, right? Like Steven has said, he wants there to be super rare items that potentially drop that are 1 in a million. And then you feel like you have to loot everything. That's not a good feeling either, right?
Yeah.
But let's see. Just kind of catching up with chat here. Sorry, I'm just super excited today, and just also super got me a little buzzed. So
you're welcome.
I'm just ranting a little bit. So I apologize if I'm not keeping up with chat. But yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just addressing chat here, Aileron. The delay time, I mean, that's definitely going to get ironed out. I can't see that being like the actual state of it. I mean, any of the issues that were there with any of the looting, like I honestly can't see staying in the game. I mean, again, I'll probably say it 500,000 more times. I really think that this state of the alpha, because this is technically pre-alpha. Yeah. We are on pre-alpha servers. We are not on alpha 1 servers. We are on pre-alpha. I think that this primarily, I'm not saying other things aren't being tested, but I think that this is primarily a skin that allows us to play the game so they can test back-end server systems.
Well, I brought up that in our chat. Brown Rice, thank you back, bro. Welcome in. Brown Rice, hit up the D&D channel. I'm looking for more people for Thursday. I don't know if you're available for another AOC one-shot. But yeah, anyway. What I was going to say, I also brought this up. I was like, you know, the time to loot may actually be implemented to slow us down because they want people in the game testing, spending more time doing things. So that it's completely possible the time to loot is literally just to slow us down in alpha so they keep more people involved and they get more data, right? So that's completely possible too, as you said, a placeholder, a whatever. And the real emote that should be going on today is the Bardic fail, because Super's getting me drunk at fucking 4 p.m. in the afternoon.
The fact that you're not already drunk is a failure.
Oh, you know what? You pour yourself a Manhattan or old fashioned, drink that, and I might pour myself another one when you. I'm
on the whiskey sour kick at the moment.
Oh, okay. What do you use for sour?
Lemon juice. So it's I mean, I know you know, but simple syrup, bitters, lemon juice. Whiskey.
No, you just use real sour as opposed to like lemonade or like.
Yeah, no, yeah, like
fake stuff.
I mean, it's the fake lemon juice that you buy in a bottle in the fruit section at your grocery store. But
yeah. No, I mean that's fine. Aaron, I just want to point out it's for testing purposes, right? I don't think Steven has any desire to do the time gating aspect of a lot of other games. Once again, like if you could just get in, level up to max level and have everything done within the first day of testing, well then and I'll say this right now, like Steven did his whole thing where he leveled us up all to max level and leveled all the nodes to 3 about 2 hours before the testing went down on Sunday. I was like, oh, well, I've done everything now for the most part. All right, well, I guess I'm just gonna like hang out in town. Actually, what happened is Z came. I saw Z running around in the game, and she was like still level 3. She hadn't had a chance to play because she's first of all, she got her I think it was her first or second COVID shot, so she was feeling tired, and then she was dealing with all the moderation stuff. So I saw Z, we chatted for a little bit, and then I literally just like took off all my gear and traded it to her. I was like, go have some fun. I'm just gonna like goof off now because I've accomplished everything. So if that all happened in the first day, you know, they're not going to get enough information for what they want. So, let's see. NDA verbal, all, I don't know even how to pronounce that. Do all gone she brawl Lego. I don't know what you're saying, Brown Rice.
Here, you ready? I'll translate.
Okay.
NDA verbal though, all gone sheesh, brawl Lego.
I did not have the inflection proper on that at all. I was like, I don't know what's going on. And I don't know if you did either. Right. You are correct. Is this a joke from Virtue? Is this what you guys were you guys getting in on your inside jokes? After the Nexus, most people left after doing anything they couldn't do before. Exactly. Yeah, Nixa, you're right. It was just like, all right, at this point, we're done. And like, I mean, that's why Steven came in and did it at that point, you know. I think Envious still stuck around and like messed with like trying to get all the stuff built for the level 3 node. And they might have tried a caravan or something like that. But yeah, at that point, I was just tired. It was a lot like, so I think, let's see, Friday they had the test open and I got in on Friday. So I was playing. I think they had the test open for about 5 or 6 hours. Then Saturday was open for about 8 or 9 hours. And then Sunday was, I would say, 10 and a half hours.
Yeah, Sunday ran basically all day, pretty smooth.
Yeah, and they opened. We were trying not to let any other group know that, like, when the servers went live, but I'm sure every other group was trying constantly to get in. But Saturday and Sunday, they opened the servers anywhere from 15 to like 25 minutes early. And we were able to get in early and then all that. And I played the entire time. Then I was also in chats with people, probably from 9 a.m. Each day until like, midnight that day, just chatting and talking about things and all that. So like last night I went to bed and I slept for like 10 straight hours. I woke up this morning and I felt great, but I was like, man, I must have been tired. That was a lot.
Yep. All that streamer hype dies down. And you're just like, oh yeah, I need to eat, sleep, do all the normal stuff.
Probably do some of this.
One thing I did want to convey that I have been wanting to be able to tell people, and I did convey this to Wizzy and Brown Rice and everybody else that was in that Discord channel, and they saw some of it and just wanting to get it to the other people watching, is the amount of communication that happens during these testing phases. Not just from Steven, not just from Maggie, not just from Toast, but from the community moderators. I mean, we had somebody come in at the start of every test. We had somebody come in at the end of every test asking, hey, how's everything going? What are some big concerns? I mean, one of them posed, I'm just not saying names. I don't know if they want it shared or not, but I would be more than happy to. Come in asking, hey, what was the most exciting thing about the testing? What was, what are you more actually playing the game? Did it curb any hesitation that you might have had? And just all of that. But the amount of communication that happens on the back end in these alpha testing spaces blows my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I literally and multiple times through, just because of sensitive stuff happening, but needed to message Toast, wanted to Escaruth posted his news thing and I tagged Steven and Margaret actually replied. Like, stuff about anything testing related, whether it be a meme or whether it be a legitimate concern, there was always somebody there ready to communicate and ready to solve the problem. And how open they were to what is wrong, what is going on with the servers, what the fix implementation should look like, curbing, like they didn't come out and just say, when all the rubber banding was happening, they didn't just come out and say, hey, everything's going to be fine, guys. Don't worry about this. Tell your friends how awesome this game is. Like, they came out and said, here's the issue. We found a temporary solution. We also have in the works a permanent solution, and this is what it's going to be. All of that is something that you typically just do not see in these type of tests.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that is even happening puts to bed any thought in my mind, like I said earlier, that this game is not going to go to launch.
Yeah.
Like we will be playing Ashes of Creation within 1.5 to 2.5 years, in my estimation. Now, state of the game, who knows? We got a lot more. We got a lot more testing to do. But if there's anything that I can convey to you guys now that the verbal NDA is released, it's less about the game and more about the people behind it and how much effort they are putting into it.
Yeah, and I have two comments to make. One is something from a bunch of people who are like you, who are in previous testings, but how quickly they implemented things like server fixes. So like, they had the login issue the first day. By the second day, I don't think a single person had a login issue. So the first day, only 30% of people got in, and then everyone was just like stuck at the login screen. The second day, that was fixed like 100% basically. Some of the rubber banding issues, like basically how quickly they're actually implementing these fixes, especially on the back end stuff, says that, hey, yes, this game, they're getting to the point where it's small things they're fixing. It's not something major, like something they found in APOC. They're getting close to that point where, yes, the servers are going to be, and like, let's be real, they still have to, I would say there's an average of like 300 people per server concurrent. They have to bump that up to 1,000 to 2,000 in a server of this size eventually, but they're getting there and they're quickly implementing fixes. Yeah, as Nixa said, the login fix blew her mind. Nixa, you are the female, right? Because there's 2 Nicks, I know. Just making sure.
You are the one with the woman parts, correct?
Jesus Christ. Now I've lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Hey,
just the way you said you are the female.
just making sure.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What was I going to say? Oh, and then the other thing is once again, I don't want to name names unless they want us to at some point, but we had another, person who's more in official capacity come into our Discord and talk to us after one test, or I think it was Saturday's test. And he was going and saying basically like, they have so many things just basically ready as plug and play. So they basically have so many systems and assets and all that ready to just be plugged in, but they're doing it right and keeping it simple first until the back end is set. Once the back end is set, we're going to see stuff just start to go.
I feel like Steven just sits in a room full of switches and every switch is tied to a system. Like, I honestly think the game has so much done to it that we don't know, like all of these systems in place and everything. I mean, from the teaser that we got, like, I think Ranger is going to come out with the Alpha 1 test, the actual Alpha 1 test. Mm-hmm. And so I just imagine Steven sitting in a circular room with all these switches around him. And he's all like, I'm going to give him Siege for 2 hours. I'm going to give him, level 3 node to everybody. Like, just kind of like,
yeah, there's
so much that's there. And I can't wait for all of it to find.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing I really want to see is how, yes, I am the female. And no, I am not related to or no Nick Ireland. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, you were the one I was talking to until like 11 p.m. last night. As I said, like, yeah, things are crazy this weekend. Just like, there's always something to talk about and do. And like, yeah.
Oh my God. Witch space over here going real dark.
Switches. It's a room full of NDA breakers and ropes. And his orphans. Don't forget his orphans.
Yeah, he actually just throws sandals at the light switches to turn on the system.
Yeah. But yeah, as I said, like I see so much stuff. Thanks for the follow, Nix. I'm so glad we didn't offend you with what we just said. I truly hope they introduce another damage class for A1. The mage feels like it's in the spotlight. Yeah. I mean, tank does a lot of damage too already. I feel like every class does a lot of damage right now because they don't have the full group aspect to balance around. I think clerics and tanks will get a pretty major damage nerf once we get more classes to fill in. Yeah, every spear. Tanks and clerics, just their spears were doing so much damage. Yeah, I think my highest crit was like 450 damage with a spear or something. Oh, from the cleric class. What was your class? Spear. Yeah.
Yeah, I even ran the spear on my mage.
Oh, is there spear? Oh, you mean I was talking about the skill spears.
The one you throw. Yeah.
Yeah, because the tanks had like the harpoon spear, which did a huge amount of damage, and then clerics had their divine censer or whatever it's called.
Yeah, cleric was a surprising standout class-wise for me from this weekend. Because like I said previously, if you weren't playing mage, you weren't playing the game. So it was nice to see them kind of bring everything up to the mage level, and give us a little bit more option there. I mean, not to say that there wasn't option before, but it's hard to go against something that's just so good. Yeah. But cleric felt really good, and at the same time, it didn't feel like tank and mage were like, nerfed into the ground, or not that they're doing any balancing, but
I
it felt
honestly
good playing all of them.
I felt like mage was the worst of the three. Tanks were pretty ridiculous, and the amount of damage they could do and mitigation. Yeah, and Angel's right. That cleric whip was just, it was so satisfying watching it like come out and whip, and just like you heard it and like you almost like felt like you felt it hit them. And then you saw your mana start ticking up and you saw the debuff on them, and it was like, that feels good. Like when you're initially told about castigation and you're like, a whip that gives mana back and heals you and does damage, this just feels weird. Then you start using it and you're just like, yes, this feels so good. You're just like literally waiting for it to come back up on cooldown so you can use it again. I'd literally it would be prio in rotation, right? So I'd have other abilities up that did more damage, but I was like, no, I'm going to wait the extra second for castigation to come back up, because that restores my mana and everything else. But yeah, I kind of felt like mage was the weakest this weekend. They were all somewhat even, but mage was the weakest. And I definitely went like the battle cleric route. So I took very little of the healing spells and just went which it was the left side of the tree was all the damaging abilities. Party loot system and quest system was cool. I think the quests were cool. They're obviously buggy. What did you think about quests, Super?
I mean, like I said, we didn't really have much to go on from previous tests from questing. So I think the initial implementation, it very much seemed like, hey, we're going to put these quests in just so we can kind of test out how our first run at the questing system looks. I mean, right off the bat, it was, and I kind of chuckled at this a little bit because I feel like it's what a lot of people complain about, but at the same time, it's inevitable to have in games like this. But the very first quest you get is a go talk to this person. You get a chunk of experience, and then the next quest is go kill 10 of these things. And I just thought it was kind of funny because a lot of people complain about quests like that. But I mean, again, I think all of it was placeholder just to kind of test out the system a little bit. But overall, I mean, like I stated earlier, I felt it was nice to kind of bypass those first couple of levels that we've in the past just had to grind out endlessly with, like I said, crabs on a beach. So it felt nice from a leveling experience. I was pleasantly surprised that there were multiple areas across the map where there were clusters of quests. I would have liked to have seen the node progression system and the questing to be tied in together. Okay, you get to a crossroad, you unlock some quests, you get to a level 1, level 2, level 3, and they're just, at least from the nodes that we got leveled up, we didn't see any of that. So that would have been nice to see. But again, for the first run of how they did the quests, it was more than fine in my opinion, and I think it served the purpose of what they were trying to get out of it.
Yeah, and I agree with Witch Space and what you're saying of like they basically made every class able to kind of do everything with a little bit of different flair, just so it didn't matter that much in testing because we don't have everything. Back to what quests were. Yeah, I mean, some quests were bugged. Obviously, clicking on you guys probably didn't go up to the northwestern node. There was a quest for a shrine there that was super buggy, and trying to click on the quest items, they're all kind of close together and annoying. And once again, as you said, that's not a big deal. They're placeholders. They'll work on that'll be fixed. But yeah, I agree. It would have been nice to see nodes as they level up kind of offer quests in the area that help progress the node and kind of give a little story. But once again, it's all just placeholder, right? It's kind of there for you to have things to do and keep you in the game so they can get information. But some of it wasn't the best implemented, I guess is the way to look at it. But yeah, also as Alarian said, one person could turn in the quest or complete the quest regardless of how close you were to it. The flower quest, for example, We were in a party of 5 for it. We all walk up to the first flower. We all pick the first flower, and we're done with the quest. Because for whatever reason, that flower quest gave you credit regardless of who picked it. And the flowers were instants. So like each person had 1 flower in each specific location. So you're supposed to run around this cave and do some jumping puzzles to get to the flowers and all that. And we just walk up and we're like, oh, quest done. Cool. All right, let's go turn it in. And once again, this is all stuff like it's placeholder. Their whole point is to get servers stable and all of that first. And then they will work on making sure the quests are fun and innovative. But I guess maybe correct me if you think differently, but from what I saw of the quests, they were kind of cool, a little different from your standard just go and collect this quests after some time, right? It seemed like, so as I said, the flowers had some jumping puzzles involved, not like super hard. When you're rubber banding, they were really hard.
I think the area that stood out to me the most in regards to questing was the area to the east below the Nala node. Mm-hmm. You had the one where you had to, pick up the page, go put it on the table, and then the bird flew off with the page. Like, yes, it was just inevitably a go and collect quest, but it didn't feel as arbitrary as, oh, go collect these 10 things because I want them. Like, you actually felt like you had a reason to do it. Even in an alpha stage, something as simple as that, how you go about providing that quest to the player is impactful. And then even the one where you get the cardinal locations around the tent. It's something that is so small and simple, but I feel like it just adds not a lot of depth, but it just adds a level of depth to the quest that gives you a reason to be like, okay, this is why I need to do this. I'm going to go do this.
Yeah. And because you made me pour whiskey earlier, I have to pee. So you entertain everyone while I run to the bathroom.
Is he gone? All right, he's gone. Yep. So let's actually, any questions anybody has that, even if it's already been answered and you just weren't here for it or whatever, but if you guys have any questions, just fill up the chat. We've been doing the testing, so we know what the experience is like so far. So if you guys have any questions on anything, put it in chat and we will answer it to the best of our ability. And I'll hop on a plane real quick, hide his chair before he gets back, and hopefully make it back to my chair before he gets back. So both test related and kind of secondary to the test itself. My favorite part about the entire weekend was having so many new people who bought into the alpha over the last week or two, be able to experience it and hear their excitement on everything. Oh shit, he took his headphones with him. He heard us the whole time.
I did. I definitely, these, just put that back. Actually, I'm going to go back to this footage. But these wireless headphones were a great investment. If you're a streamer and just have to pop up to have to take your headphones off constantly is annoying. I like wireless now.
So as far as the entire weekend as a whole, my single favorite part was just experiencing it with people who were new to it. And I've seen a little bit more progress of the game. It was really cool to see and hear people come in and go, oh man, this is so much better than I thought it was going to be. Like, and besides mostly emotional investment into the game, I don't have, I'm not a developer or anything like that. And just as another player, it was really cool to hear other people be excited about the game. As far as the actual game testing itself, as far as the actual content, I think running around the map and trying to kill all the named mobs with a giant horde of 2 raid parties was probably the most fun that we had. And breaking some of those encounters and getting wiped by some of those encounters. But so
yes. So as Cicada said, the alpha map, this has been up for months now. This is allowed. Technically, if you've made any additions or changes, you are definitely allowed to put those on, because that's all under verbal, as long as it's not an actual screenshot or anything from in-game, right? That's your own creation of whatever. That shouldn't be under NDA. But like, so this is the raid we were talking about earlier that was blocked off for most people. This was Drythorn. We were initially trying to level up this node, Elion, but as I said, our server broke nodes. Nala over here is where a lot, like, this had the most amount of quests and best amount of farming zones, so a lot of like serious guilds headed over there. As I said, on our server, everything was broken. So it didn't matter what you did because you couldn't level stuff up. But yeah, so yeah, you're definitely allowed to share all this stuff now, as long as you didn't personally take the picture, right? Or the video or whatever. Missed the dragons last night. Which dragons did you guys do, Wizzy? Virtue versus Wood. Yeah, we did. We had a little bit of PvP versus Envious. However, they massively they outnumbered us just a little bit, so it didn't go super well. But it was fun. Okay, here's a topic to talk about: body blocking, because collision actually matters, right?
Yep.
So what are your thoughts on it? Good, bad? Obviously, they don't have the physics in place where you can push people, and that will be implemented. But yeah, what do you think?
I mean, I didn't get too much into PvP this test. In past ones, I did, and from that, I honestly, it didn't hit me as anything as. At least the ways that I encountered it, I didn't feel like it was as impactful as I thought it would be. The most impact we had with body blocking was when we grouped up for the raid. A couple of the leaders from Wood blocked the entrance of the raid. That way we would all group up and people would stop running ahead. And it actually worked. Okay. But as far as like from an actual battling standpoint, like a PvP standpoint, I didn't necessarily see it as something as impactful in, say, like a 1-on-1 or a 3-on-3 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I definitely see it being something that has to be thought about.
So for us, it mattered a lot on mounts. That's when we started seeing a lot of collision. And there was something called, it's the mix. It was basically the lizard with the like mace on its tail. So it was the mix between like the scale runner and something else. But it was one of the mounts you could buy, and it's a little special animation. So every mount has a special animation. So like people were saying earlier, the Pyre Fox, which is the Firefox, the one that was one of the, I mean, all of them were from cosmetic kits, but that was in the game. Like that would sit down, so it would like kind of sit like a dog or a fox, I guess. And other, like everything had a special when you press space. And one of them was, I think it was the Mace Runner or something like that it was called. It was the dragon with the mace on the tail, or the lizard with the mace on the tail. Its space would spin around in a circle. And the tail has collision. So you could literally send people just flying. I'm pretty sure we were standing on a cliff one time, and I yeeted someone with my Mace Runner or scale. I forget what it's called, as I said. I yeeted them probably, like, they were out of sight. They just went flying. And I was like, did you just die? And they're like, no, but I have about 20 HP left. And it was just hilarious. But that's definitely like a concerning thing. If you could really just, tail booping, it needs to be a sport. I'm kind of okay with that at a certain aspect. But yeah, after I bought that mount, I think I spent about 2 hours just trying to yeet people into things. But apparently also why you like, so after we got our mounts and all that, we grouped up, I think we got like 30 of us together in a raid, and we just ran around, killed everything we saw, and just did a complete tour of everything. But people were saying like, oh, I love running behind you, because every once in a while as the tail is wagging, it'll hit someone and just yeet them into the distance. So people are literally like trying to like converge on my tail to see what would happen. And it's like, okay, well, this is cool. But obviously, like when it comes to balancing a game, that starts bringing up issues of potential abuse and whatnot. But as we have said, these are all placeholder systems. It's stuff that will be worked on. But it was just something I found funny.
I was thoroughly excited to finally be able to ride the Firefox and the updated graphics to the tail.
Yeah,
like, it actually has the flame coming off of it. Oh my gosh, it was. Yeah,
for those who don't know, we saw the 3D model of the Firefox, but it didn't have the SFX on it yet, and it does now. At least it has the some SFX. I don't know if it'll be changed. What I will say though is I kind of like the eyes not being fiery. The eyes are like super detailed and piercing in the 3D model, and in the game they had like fire where you couldn't really, I mean, it's not a huge fire, but it's a small fire. You couldn't really see the eyes, and I kind of didn't like that as much. And once again, we're just talking about small personal preferences. It really doesn't matter that much. I loved it overall. I wish they gave us one more day at least. Rubber banding was so bad the first two. Zetnal, what server were you on? Because as soon as we got out, so the starting zone is here. This is where the Divine Gateway is. This is the little starting zone where they give you quests. Literally, as soon as we crossed this river, the rubber banding went away on our server. And that's not entirely true. It was in proximity. I think when we were doing the raid and we got into like this zone around here, there was some rubber banding. But yeah, I mean, we switched from trying to level up this node after we broke nodes to trying to level up this node. And like, we could like go in here without experiencing any rubber banding. And then, well, Zetnal, you could come join our group, Axiom or Virtue. I know there's a lot of Virtue people in here that will promote their guild as well.
Anybody with a sexy beard joins Virtue.
What? Oh, what? I got the sexiest beard. Actually, that's I'm debating whether I'm gonna shave soon or not. I don't know.
See, the fact that you're even thinking about it. Shame.
But if I shave, I'll do some fun, fancy stuff. I'll try to get the mustache going. Wizzy is the sexiest beard. Axiom Virtue Alliance, I mean, I'm down for that. I have no control over that. As I said, I don't even know for sure if I'm joining Axiom. I'm in a trial phase. As a good friend of mine once said, I'm trialing them as much as they're trialing me.
Man, whoever said that, that's a super smart guy.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just kind of like, but I really enjoy playing alpha with them. So yeah, we'll see what happens overall. I have a strong feeling I might be joining Axiom. That's kind of where I'm looking at things. But yeah, I mean, Zetnal, there's a lot of groups that are happy to just have you jump in. Like, as I said, Axiom would have been fine with anyone that wanted to jump in and just do stuff with us. I think a lot of guilds are smart enough to realize, like, this is alpha. We're not trying to exclude anyone or do any, like, yeah, there are a couple guilds on our server that were trying to, like, PvP, and we're like, this is alpha. It's not a good time to make a bad name for yourself. Like, you don't want to start shit now. The game hasn't even released yet.
Yeah, I don't. We didn't really see too much. You know, people definitely heeded the words of Steven in saying, you know, we're going to go through the logs, and if we see that somebody has been doing too much PKing, you know, he said that this isn't the purpose of the test. We will swing the ban hammer if you are just here trying to ruin the experience for other people. Obviously, I would have a concern with an approach like that in a launched game. But with it being an alpha, I absolutely support that. We're trying to test, we're trying to do things. We're just, a lot of people, again, we're new to the testing experience this weekend and just trying to get their feet under themselves with what's going on. Mm-hmm. And, people just run around and nuking people doesn't help with that. So,
and hey, Sego, welcome in. Obviously, you've heard the awesome news, so now we can talk about everything. But yeah, no, and that goes back to what we were talking about in terms of gatekeeping, in terms of the price of alpha. You're getting people who care about the game for the most part. You're getting people who, might have a little more life experience under the belts and all of that, in terms of the fact you're getting people who actually want to do what the devs want from us, because we want this game to goddamn succeed. Yeah. And biggest fear is the server becoming completely owned by a small group of guilds. Seen that kill too many other games. Which space? It's definitely a possibility. What I will say is Steven is implementing as many systems as possible to make the small guy matter. So we saw a little bit of. Oh, that's the other thing. I don't know if the other servers got this, but when Steven max leveled all of us on Lineth, he also promoted our guilds to level 6 or 7. So we saw a bunch down the tree, at least the one tree in terms of guild perks. And that's only one of the trees. It doesn't include the guild size tree, or this one was mostly environmental and combat based. I'm guessing the other one is more gathering based, and then there's the size based. So when we're looking at guild perks in terms of the tree, I'm guessing there's going to be a guild size tree, which gives you certain perks based on guild size, including increasing the guild size. Then you're going to have the combat environmental tree, and then you'll have the crafting tree. But I don't know. It's possible that one guild will dominate a server, but that's also why they have server history and things like that in place. If one guild is dominated by one server, there's a good chance people just won't play on that unless they've already joined that guild. And if that guild starts to lose members or lose interest in the game, that server dies off. Whereas the healthiest servers are going to be the ones with a bunch of what I would say are medium-sized guilds that are between 50 and 100 and 300 people, very dedicated. I think those are going to be the healthiest servers, where there's a bunch of those, and politics is this crazy intricate thing, and people are going in and out of war with each other. Those are the servers people are going to want to play on. And yeah, that's the thing you have to look at. So if it becomes a thing where these massive guilds are basically not enjoying playing the game because they are all have one mind and are together and they're taking over an entire server, well, people are going to leave that guild because it's no longer fun. So I think it'll take some time. I think early on, especially say a server where Asmongold goes, right? Because Asmongold has, probably at least 10,000 people, probably 50,000 people that will roll on the same server as him. They'll take over an entire server, but that server, it's not guaranteed. This is just a thought. Will probably die at a certain point, and then it's no one's gonna be there. And yeah, what do you think on that?
I think the human aspect has to be taken into consideration here, and the reality of that is if you look at any game with any guild at any level of competitiveness, high, low, middle, both in the content that they're doing, the size that they are, all of it. Mm-hmm. They all fall eventually.
Yes.
And Steven has very clearly stated that he doesn't want to implement systems that punish people for being good at the game. And in relation to the guild, because this question has come up as well, that Witchspace posed as a concern, is there may be a server where Legacy has control for months on end.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say control, I mean control of their area, control of their primary resources, a big influence on the server's economy. But infighting happens. A dispute and leadership happens. The human aspect is a whole nother side of the game that I feel like isn't taken into account a lot of times. And that alliances will be made, alliances will be broken, new alliances will form. Everybody might get pissed, everybody on Asmon's server might get pissed at him and say, yo, screw this Malding mofo. We're gonna, join up and take him and take his guild down. And this is going to sound real nerdy here, from the ashes rises a new world. I mean, it literally is. And the human aspect can't be taken out of consideration when talking about a lot of this stuff.
In terms of what Cicada and Witch Space, they're both kind of talking about the same thing. That's the other thing too. Without fast travel, there's a limited amount of resources in a certain area. So large guilds will have to coordinate and spread out, at which point you're almost separate guilds with a loose alliance. But the other thing is, like, if you're a part of this mass guild, the Zerg guild, and you're just a grunt, well, if you actually enjoy playing this game, you're not going to want to be a grunt, barely getting any loot, barely getting anything, and to work your way up in a massive, 1,000+ person guild to the point where, you have enough sway to actually get some of this good loot is going to take a long time. So I see a lot of these massive guilds, they might start out with a big Zerg of people, but eventually people are going to be like, I'm either going to go play on another server or I'm going to join this guild that's recruiting because I can make a name for myself and actually accomplish something other than just the Zerg mentality, right?
I mean, from personal experience, it's already happening. The game hasn't even been launched yet. I mean, I went from the guild who is in position, and I still believe them to be in position to achieve world first in every aspect of the game, to something that's a smaller, more community based, or more focused on the people. That being Virtue, Simorg's guild, and it's. I mean, that is already happening. What you want out of the game 1 month or 1 year will be, or has the potential to be completely different than what you want out of it the next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as I said, that was my goal when I was looking for a guild. I didn't want to be a part of one of the biggest, sweatiest guilds. I want I want to be a part of a large enough guild to have sway and accomplish things, but I also wanted to join a guild that is still in it for the camaraderie and the fun. That goes back to what we were the guild success thing. And I had brought that thing up for you guys to read, where I don't want any measurement of guild success, because to me, guild success is how often do people actually play together and get in voice chat and goof off? And my biggest thing when I'm playing a game is how much am I fucking laughing, right?
Yeah.
And that's why this weekend was awesome, because we were just having there were times obviously where you're focused and doing things, but you are just cracking up and laughing at the bugs, and you're shit talking each other. I mean, we were shit talking other guilds too, but I won't get into that. It was all good fun. It was all good fun. But yeah, we're shit talking each other, and so honestly, some of the best times were waiting for the servers to come up because everyone's just hyped and doesn't have anything to do. And then once we got in game, it was this is really fun too, but the camaraderie, and this game just encourages you to always, but there's so much to do and so much to coordinate that it just encourages you to constantly be in voice chat. And I played those MMOs where it's let's be in voice chat, and then it's well, we have nothing to talk about because we all know what we're doing already. We just sit there and don't really say anything to each other for 5 minutes on end, and then it's okay, everyone got this done, all right, let's move on. It's that's just not fun. Whereas the amount of depth and everything going into this game was just constantly I'm doing this, so okay, we got to go do this. How is everyone doing over there? Because you have to coordinate stuff between this massive space, something was always going on. Let's hear sweet server guild drop. There wasn't much. It was more just playful shit talking.
I mean, if you think back to I mean, at least when I do, I would assume it's the same for most people. You think back to some of the fondest memories you've had in any kind of game that you've played. The ones that stick out the most are the ones that incorporate you with other people. And it's usually, I mean, some of my fondest memories of Star Wars The Old Republic were me running around my faction's fleet in a circle for hours on end while bullshitting with people in TeamSpeak. Like, it had not, like, I wasn't even really playing the game. Like, but that is closely associated to that. And those are the moments that I think are going to be quite prevalent in Ashes of Creation. At least I hope it is. If they do it right, they create a lot of good guild systems, a lot of good group systems. I think stuff like that is going to appear a lot.
Yeah. So, let's go back here.
I do need to run. I need to go sear off the steak. But I appreciate you having me on. And
no, it's a pleasure. It was awesome. But I was just going to point out in this video here, the eye there of the fox is now like covered in fire and you can't see it. I like the detail there. But also there's fire on the legs, on the tail, and the ears, which all look really good. But anyway, yeah, definitely go enjoy dinner. Thanks for coming on. It was awesome to chat. If anyone else that I know wants to come chat, you are more than welcome to. But anyway, another shout out to SooperTCG here. I'll throw it in chat. And I'm sure we'll see you soon.
Have a good night, everybody. Super excited the NDA is down. And if you guys ever come across Simorg, call him a ninja looter.
Yeah.
Have a good night, guys.
Simorg's another awesome content creator. I'm sure most of you probably know him, but always got a shout out. Yeah, I mean, I love supporting all the other content creators. It's a tight-knit community and everyone's awesome. People raid each other. Oh, Wizzy, thank you for the resubscription. 7 months. Holy shit. Thank you so much. Everyone who has supported, in whether you're chatting tonight, following, subscribing, as I said, my dream is to be a full-time Ashes of Creation content creator. That's why I like it, dude. Yeah. When this news was dropped, I was like, let's go! This is so exciting, finally! But yeah, and as I said, I run D&D campaigns right now as we're waiting for other things to do. Once Ash is around, I probably won't do much in terms of D&D is my guess, because I'll be too focused. But we do D&D on potentially Tuesday, Wednesday nights is normal D&D, and then Thursdays we do an Ashes of Creation themed D&D, which is always fun. Brown Rice has played, Super's played, Wizzy's played, who else? So if anyone's interested in that, let me know. Straight Asmon. I'm surprised. Asmon was in the test this weekend, I'm pretty sure. I never saw his name in there. I don't know where he was playing or whatnot, but I would guess that he will probably be doing some kind of Ashes stream or talking about Ashes sometime soon. Right? He's got it. I don't know how to exit out of that. I don't know what to do. There we go. He wasn't going to play till he can stream. Okay, interesting. I had not heard that. I know he applied for the official content creator. I'm hoping I applied obviously as well. I hope we all get to hear sometime soon on that, because that'll be exciting. But yeah, I also hope we get a date for the next testing date. I'm guessing it probably won't be this weekend. Anyone have thoughts on when they'll do the next alpha test? They have enough to do and fix probably. I am guessing it'll probably be the weekend of the 27th, 28th? Is that Memorial Day as well? I could see them doing it on Memorial Day when people have time off. There is a chance we could do it this weekend. All right. I mean, the other thing too is if they're at the point of server stability, it doesn't cost them anything to put them live, right? Even if they're not necessarily actively looking for things to fix because they have enough to fix, right? Hey, maybe something will happen like we had with Lineth, where we broke the nodes and just couldn't level them. Like that was some weird freak accident, something was going on, and it's going to take a bunch of testing. And if the servers are stable enough, they don't have to constantly be monitoring them. There's nothing that harms them from, putting it up again to see what happens. And worst case scenario, something breaks and they're like, okay, well, thanks, we broke something. Would you come back? Oh, did you not hear, Wizzy? So, somehow on Lineth, we couldn't level up nodes. So I'll bring up the map here. So what happened? So this is missed something. I'll explain here. So this is missed. This is Weston or something like that. This is Drythorn. This is Nala, and this is what is it? Illyrian or something? I forget the name of this one, but we were on Lineth and we had a bunch of other major guilds. We were kind of allied with Envious to get things done, but we all did some base quests real quick, and then we headed straight up here. Before any of us had even headed up there, these nodes were level 1. This was level 1, and then this node quickly got to 2, and so did Nala. And so this was 2, this was 2. These were both 1. We headed up here, got this to level 1, and then apparently everything broke because we decided, oh, well, this node is leveled up fast enough. We also might be locked out because this is a level 1 and this is a level 2. So then Envious, which is one of the largest guilds in the alpha testing right now, and us, Axiom, who also had probably 30 active members at all times, said, okay, we're going to head down to Drythorn. And so we headed down here and tried to level this up. And we spent, probably 5 hours of the first day, or the first day being Saturday, the first day everyone got in, and all of the probably 6 hours of Sunday we're just grinding out, trying to get to this tier 3. Would not level up. While we had Legacy, Checkmate, and I think Stormborn or something like that, all over here on this, trying to level up this node, and they couldn't get it leveled up. So literally we started asking in the server chat, hey, we think we might have broken something, because every other person we talk to is saying they already have at least one tier 3 node. Something is going on, and we have the highest server population right now. And eventually it just came down to yeah, something is wrong. And they just kept proposing, try doing this. And they kept telling us to do certain things to see if it would fix. And they were like, okay, we appreciate it. And we kept asking, can someone just come in and level up a node to 3? Because we really want to see that. And they're like, bear with us. We're trying to get the information to see what is wrong. So we tried all these kinds of different things. And then, as I was saying, for those who weren't here, when I said at the beginning, Steven comes into the server probably about 2 hours before everything went down on testing. And he leveled all 3 of these nodes up to 3 for us. He just auto leveled them. But yeah, we were asking, and apparently at one point Toast goes in our server, NDA server chat, she's like, so you guys have a hero coming soon? And then we get big letters from Steven saying a bunch of things. Then he levels all these up to 3. And then Margaret, thank you. Welcome in. I hope you're doing well as well. Thank you so much for all of your hard work this weekend. Now, everything was an absolute blast. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys were exhausted. I saw your post about exercising. I made sure to every morning to either do yoga or go on a bike ride because, yeah, keep the energy levels up, right? But yeah, welcome in. So yeah, I was just giving them the rundown of what happened on Lineth here. But yeah, anyway, and then Steven ports the entire server to the siege zone. And I was telling them this, Margaret, but I'm running on a 3090. But I had no FPS issues. Obviously, when the server started crashing, things went wrong. But after I loaded in, when everyone was in that ball in the siege zone, my FPS was 60 plus. It was great. So obviously, the game itself is running great. As soon as the servers are set, I think you guys have in place things ready for 250 plus. Gandalf, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Yeah, and so yeah, it's yeah, anyway, he teleported us into the siege zone. We were all in this tiny ball. Then we ran out. We killed We killed the fire dragon real quick, and then we ran to the ice dragon, and that's when the server started having issues, and we were getting rubber banding and all that. When our server was teleported, I was stuck in the ball for about 3 seconds. Other than that, it was fine. Didn't have to swing that many hammers. Yeah, the community is pretty good. Obviously, you know. And I don't think any hammers you did have to swing was intentional, right? I think a lot of people may have just misunderstood things or whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons, obviously, I want to be a content creator for this game, because so far it's just been all positive experiences. Yeah. I was surprised to see how laid back everyone was compared to other PvP MMOs I was trying. Yeah, I mean, still trying to be a professional, which means I make money doing it. Full time, I guess, is the real goal. But yeah, Margaret may not know this, but a bunch of you know it, but I took 2 months off of my other job to do content for this, and I was saying I made that, like, I got the full confirmation at 10 a.m. on Monday, and then about 3 hours later, you guys were like, yeah, we're not lifting the NDA. I was like, crap. Obviously, I understand why. It's fine. It's not a big deal, but yeah, I'll be going hardcore into content creation for all of this. I almost needed a hammer swing because I was in the wrong channel. Fair enough. It's all good, Margaret. I am trying to phase out of that job anyway. I helped my brother open a distillery here in our town in Colorado, so I'm a part owner of that, but it's his business. So I've been trying to find my own thing, and hopefully this will be it after some good hard work and dedication. Civil War was awesome, dude. The entire wood thing was just awesome. I was jealous of you guys. When we get in some Ash's mead, so we can't make mead. The distillery license is different from a brewer's license, and mead falls under brewery. But we'll get some Ash's whiskey for sure. But yeah, whenever we have the first Ashes Con or Intrepid Con or whatever, I'll be flying out a bunch of our whiskey to give to people. It'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, it's exciting stuff. Yeah, and we just, with COVID, we started doing canning, and we're doing a bunch of canned cocktails, and that has blown up for us. So just before I took the 2 months off, I was spending probably 60 hours a week trying to get our canning process up and running, swapping alcoholism for ashesolism. It'll probably be a combination of both, Witch Space. I mean, yeah, actually, it was interesting. So, like, I bought like 2 6-packs of beer for this weekend. I was like, oh yeah, you know, coming towards the end of testing, I'm going to want to, you know, have a couple beers and hang out with people and chat. And it wasn't until Sunday night after we've been max level, and I was like, okay, I've accomplished everything I want to, that I even thought about having beer. I was just like so focused on everything going on and just chatting with people. I was like, I didn't even think about. I barely even ate. All the things, seriously, best way to keep meat and veggies for long periods of time. I'm a crazy prepper person, though. Yeah, I got that one. Yeah, I mean, what was it? Last week, I made a huge thing of beef stew, and because what was it? Cross rib was on sale for $3 a pound. I got a bunch in my freezer, but I was like, yeah, I'll de-thaw that if I need any food this weekend. Didn't even think about it. Beef stew over egg noodles. You got to put it over egg noodles. We'll blame it on localization. Yeah. Remember, guys, Margaret's first language is not English. What is your first language? German, I think, right? But yeah, oh my God. And yeah, that was everyone in the community was so awesome. I don't know the first 2 languages at all. Don't know what those are. I'm gonna look those up. Tagalog. Austronesian. Philippines. Okay. Filipino. Fair enough. I've spent a bunch of time in, or not a bunch of time, but like a month in New Zealand. That's about the best I can do. But that's English. You said it so funny. Tagalog. How is it? I want you to Taguli. Okay. Tagali. Country is not Vera, does not compute. I'm butchering this so bad. It's great. Oh, well. Hold on. Let's get the... We'll get the pronunciation up here. Here we go.
Tagalog.
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 Tagalog. There we go.
Tagalog.
And then let's get the other one. Is that wrong? Is that wrong?
Pampanga.
This is yeah, it's not an actual person saying it.
Pampanga.
Oh no. Is the Cockney pronunciation. The log is soft. Okay. Tag log. Maybe. I'm not a verbalist. I don't pretend to be. Champagne, right? But yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of, I like to say Scotch, but it's not real Scotch because it's made in Japan. It's one of those weird ones like champagne has to be made in a certain region. But yeah, I mean, don't worry at all. Someday, as I said, at the Ashes Con and Intrepid Con, I'm going to approach you and have you pronounce it correctly for me. You got to tell us, when is that going to be? Is there plans already? Is that ever going to happen? You love bourbon? Well, I will be in California. I don't know if I'll be all the way down to San Diego, though, in about 2 months. Ashes Con when? Yeah, someday. We might need a game first, but you know, it would, like, you know you're going to get a big turnout with Ashes Con. Or Intrepid Con, there we go. That's probably the best way to put it, because Intrepid wants to make other games after Ashes. Opening party night. I mean, that's also, yeah, that's supposed to happen for all those backers, right? They got an invite to the Vegas opening party. Launch party, yeah. I guess the question is, like, if you're a content creator and you're also allowed to go to the launch party, what do you prioritize there? Do I go to the launch party, or is the launch party going to be actually like a little bit before the actual launch of the game? Like a little test preview. Events are your favorite thing. Everyone, yeah, I'm so over this COVID stuff. Yeah, Margaret. So for the distillery, I used to run the sales and marketing division, or not run it, but it was me and one other person doing the sales and marketing, and I did all the events. So we did, where I live in Winter Park, we have a bunch of music festivals during the summer. We ran all the bars for them and got free, obviously, backstage passes and all that stuff. And I did all the testings and things like that, and it was so much fun. And then COVID hit, and so I went on unemployment because, yeah, my job dried up there. And as I said, my brother's my boss, and we have a great relationship, so it's all good. Yeah, so much goes into it. Oh my God. I mean, at least on the service side, there were times like, oh crap, we forgot this. So I'd be making 5 a.m. runs down to Restaurant Depot to pick up extra things to make sure we had enough of everything and stuff. Yeah, Sego, you've been telling me about that all-you-can-eat sushi place. I want to go there so bad. I mean, I love sushi, and and I'm not talking about rolls. I'm like classic, what is it? Classic nigiri. So, what's the term for when the chef does it? Omayase or something? Omakase. Yeah, omakase is like when you go in and sit down and the sushi chef just like gives you everything. Like they do like a 12-course meal just in order of what they think is best. And I love that, but I will nom on some all-you-can-eat sushi. Those are the folks who just wave their hands and wishes pop into existence, right? Yeah, with a lot of hard work as well, Witch Space. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes that no one ever realizes to make a deal work or get everything running in line or stopping in like a liquor store, like probably like 10 different times to finally make the sale and get picked up. Shall call my friend Aladdin and we shall go. Yeah, I mean, Vegas flights are cheap right now. I went to New Orleans like a month ago because flights, I think I got a round trip flight on Southwest for $79. So me and my brother and a whole bunch of other distillery folks went down to New Orleans, and we're all fully vaccinated because we're service industry. So headed down to New Orleans and just, it was so good. We went for 4 days, and I'll tell you, after about 2, I was like, I think 2 days is enough time in New Orleans. A little bit too much drink and too much food, and you're just like, I could just like not do anything for now. But anyway, yeah, see you, Margaret. Thank you so much for stopping by. We'll hopefully see you again soon. Hopefully this weekend for some more testing. Vegas life, yeah. Sego used to live in Vegas, for those who don't know. We could plan an unofficial, like, Ashes of Creation get-together in Vegas. That would be fun, especially why everything's cheap. You just got to make sure people are vaccinated or have already gotten it. Yeah, Margaret, as Wizzy said, if you're still here, great job this weekend. Send our love up to everyone else in the mods and testing environment, everyone working for Intrepid. It was awesome. Lived in Vegas for about 6 months. Yeah, nice. What was your favorite thing about Vegas? Like living there as a local, Golden, or Bree, I guess. Tell Vertec to wake up. We need some of his love too. No, I don't actually want you to do that. If he needs to sleep, let him sleep. But yeah, what else happened? I'm trying to think. There's just so much. Working currently. What does he do for work? I know you do web development. I think he does audio stuff or something. You hope to get into the launch party? Yeah, I would love to get into the launch party. As I said, though, as a content creator, I'm not like, if the launch party is actually when the game launches, I may like have to skip that to actually stream the game launch. But I would assume the launch party is probably like a week beforehand or something, right? So people can come meet up and then fly out. Getting 50% off at everything at the local bar in the mall area where I work was my favorite thing. Yeah, Sego, like when you work in the service industry like I did, I got that at like every place I go in town. It's starting to fall off now. I went to a place like last week or something, and there are a bunch of new servers that no longer recognize me because I've been out of the game for so long. But it's all good. He's supposed to be a cybersecurity person, but he's doing yeah. If you're working for any kind of startup, you just end up doing everything. There's a project due a while back, but he and one other person are trying to finish it, and it will be a whole week of him working a lot again. Oof. Not a startup. Yeah, well, just not his role. Yeah, I mean, every corporate startup, whatever. Gonna work a few, food time. Yeah, I don't know how much longer we'll go. We got like a lot of the good stuff out of the way, but we may just like hang out and stream for a while and chat, and yeah, may or may not be here when you get back. Super's back. Super, you're welcome to hop back into voice if you'd like. Waiting for my foodstuffs. Yeah, I need to eat at some point. We got this announcement and I just dropped everything, and I have barely eaten today, so at some point I'll have to go eat. But tech work is always lumped into one job. Yeah, because the person in charge of finances doesn't know what's going on. You haven't eaten either. Play Dad Taxi. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, which space that your comments were amazing. Very should I say thoughtful and useful and good. So thank you for coming in. Thanks for the follow. And as I said, stay tuned. I should be doing a bunch more. I have a bunch of videos planned. I'll be should be having I'll have a I can pull this up right here. I've got my D&D one-shot encoding on the side right now. So once that's done encoding, that'll be uploaded to YouTube for anyone interested in D&D and Ashes of Creation together. And then I was working on, I've got like 3 videos in the works as well. So yeah, goldfish are the best. No, I love goldfish. But Super is back. How are you? How was dinner?
Pretty good. I just was able to get my hands on a prime ribeye steak. So I cooked it sous vide and just had to sear it off in the cast iron real quick.
Sous vide is the best. Did you finish it with some extra butter?
Oh, of course.
Oh my God, Witchspace, thank you so much for the gifted subs. As I said, I appreciate everyone, but yeah, it's welcome in to Emerson, Coffee Drinker, Horrendous, Decryptor, and the Golden Feather. Pretty sure I know all of you, and you guys have been around for a long time. So yeah, welcome in for official subs and brand new emotes. And Witchspace, thank you so much for the support. Appreciate it. Yeah. So yeah, we got off topic on Ashes here. We've been talking about a bunch of different things. Margaret stopped by, and we were talking about throwing parties and the launch party for Ashes. I have a question for you. Are you a part of the launch party? Are you that high up there?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting one. We'll see what the launch party is.
I first heard about Ashes right as the Kickstarter closed.
Oh.
I hadn't started looking into it until after the summer backing, where they kind of reopened the Kickstarter just through the website. But then I bought in right before PAX, and then during PAX they had the Alpha 1 Intrepid pack upgrade. So I went ahead and upgraded to that then.
Yeah, so there's a launch party here. Let's see, what's the first one that says it? I know Bree is a part of the launch party. They're Phoenix Initiative, which is definitely a launch party. What level is that? Pledge 100 or more. Let's just see if I can do lawn. Okay. So it looks like only... Wait, is it only Avatar at the Phoenix? Oh, no, all of these. So, wait, no? I'm confused. Shirts will be distributed at the launch party. Where is this here? Access to the live launch head start. But to close alpha. It's not all of them. I think it's 1,000 and up. Yeah, here we go. This is the first one. So leader of men and up. So 1,000 and up receive an invitation to the Ashes of Creation launch party, which I believe they've said will be in Vegas. But yeah, I mean, as I
might crash it.
Yeah. As I said, we might just have to plan an unofficial launch party in Vegas where we run into each other at like midnight when we're all a little schwasty.
I mean, we should be out in Colorado by the time this game actually launches.
So we're gonna drive out, is what you're saying.
I'm down. Put it in the books.
I would be too. I saw it on Kickstarter and thought to myself, that has to be a scam before I skipped over it without reading it. Kind of regret it now, but what can you do? Yeah, as I said, I'm hoping to be an official content creator someday here. And I'm hoping us official content creators get invited to the launch party as well. Because yeah, that would just be so much fun. I mean, especially after a year of COVID, right? You're not driving that again? Well, Colorado to Vegas is like 8 hours or less. I think it's 6 hours. It's really not bad. Throw on a nice book on tape. You're groovy.
I like listening to stand-up comedy while I'm driving.
Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah.
Long haul drives. Yep.
As I said, it's a good mix. It depends how long. If you're going cross country, like eventually the stand-up gets old, but.
No, you just put it on cruise control and it drives it for you, right? That's how that works.
Yeah, just everyone get a Tesla real quick. But Sego, no, you'll fly into Denver and then Super and I will pick you up and then we'll all road trip. That's
I think brown rice is out that way too.
Yeah, brown rice is about an hour from me. He's down in Golden, I believe. Or Morrison, something like that. Yeah, brown rice and I have talked about meeting up. It just hasn't happened yet. Heavy metal is your go-to, got to get amped up. Not like I can't listen to like 8 straight hours of heavy metal. Maybe like the last half hour before you're driving into Vegas and getting ready for everything, right? But yeah, Sega, you can fly in. We'll get you the best weed in the world, and we'll just feed you some of that while we drive you around. Good old Colorado.
Feed them some of that.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can smoke it or eat it. I prefer eating it nowadays. Why ruin your lungs if you don't need to? Unless it's cigars, of course, because cigars after having a few beers is delicious. But I guess you're not supposed to inhale that stuff. The old school rap. Yeah, because it tastes great either way. That's true. I don't like the taste eating it. I do like the smell and the taste smoking it. But I used to be a huge stoner, but now I barely use it anymore. I only use it. I probably use it like once every couple weeks, where I'm just like, I just kind of want to eat some edibles and sit on the couch and just relax. Love listening to music while you're driving. I had a job in college where I drove 8 to 10 hours a night testing cars for warranty mileage stuff. I got real used to music and driving. So my favorite is like fantasy books. Anything Brandon Sanderson while driving. Oof. I've listened to like all his books multiple times because so I live up in Winter Park, which is about an hour and a half from Denver. But with my job for the sales and marketing for the distillery, I'd have to drive down to Denver a couple times a week. And yeah, it would be, I just listen to audiobooks, and I literally get to my destination. I get to the liquor store and be like, I should really go in, but this is such a good part. I'm going to sit here for another 10 minutes. I literally just sit in the parking lot and listen to the audiobook for 10 minutes and pretend to be like doing some work, writing something. All right, let's get back to Ashes. How about that? Should we get back to Ashes?
I mean, I guess.
I mean, it's Ashes. Yeah, I'm not. Anyone have any other questions? Hydrate. That's a good. I can't hydrate because I have no water or whiskey left. Professions. That's a good one. Give me a second. I'm going to pour just a little bit more whiskey because why not keep the buzz going? Super. Entertain them.
Why'd the chicken cross the road? No, not to get more whiskey, to get to the other side. Duh. Sorry, I'm like in between replying to comments and doing stuff at the moment. Oh crap, I made the golden feather go into lurk mode. Sorry, Bard. Apparently not that entertaining.
Oh God, it's all Super's fault. No, I was listening just laughing at stuff. But yeah, we can talk a little about professions. I also got water, just to be fair. And I also brought the whiskey bottle that I'm pouring. So this is Yamazaki 12 single malt. This is from the private collection. As I said, today is something we're celebrating. So anyone else that would like to pour a little bit of whiskey or have a drink, well, I do as well, please enjoy. That way I'm not drinking alone and don't feel bad about myself. But yeah, Super, you've had dinner. Go pour a little whiskey or do a sour.
I was gonna say you're not drinking alone anymore. Don't worry.
Okay. You like sake more than whiskey? I really like sake. Not hot sake, not cheap sake, but when you're getting into like getting some of the nicer sakes, they're tasty. Especially like, I mean, I have my sommelier 1, which is for wine, but when you apply some of that stuff to like, so you're tasting that sake with the right food. So often it's like sushi or things like that. Oh man, it's delicious. It goes down like candy. Next thing you know, you're like 3 bottles deep at a sushi restaurant. You're like, I was supposed to drive home, but hey, is it okay if I leave my car here and Uber home? They're always fine with it, just so you know. But so professions. Did you have any experience with professions, Super? Did you try any of that?
Not super in depth. The most that I did was a ton of gathering. They don't really have much of a system in place for I mean, I guess besides the smelt, they really didn't have anything for processing, and crafting was very limited. I think it was like 4 or 5 items. But I mean, there was a quest for it at the beginning, just kind of like a very, 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 very basic introduction to stuff. But I don't feel like there was enough to really give an opinion on to say either way, because it was very, very, very basic. So
did you guys experience where the first crafting quest was bugged and you couldn't complete it?
On the first day, yes.
Okay, so I believe that was still bugged for us, or maybe it might have been just that no one ever went back to it because we thought it was bugged. So yeah, we never really tried doing crafting. However, once we got the tier 3 node, we saw a bunch of the epic blueprints and all of that. As you said, this is placeholder, but they basically just required I think it was gold ore. Obviously, there's no processing in the game, so you just had gold ore and herbs. And I believe those were what was required for the epic level stuff. And also, as I said, on our server, we didn't get level 3 until 2 hours before servers dropped. So at that point, I wasn't gonna go try to farm a bunch of stuff to craft with. But yeah, fish make potions, as Sego said. Fish are part of the potion making process. But this is probably all just placeholder, right?
Weird segue, but still related. Did you do any fishing at all?
Yes, a little bit.
What did you think? I mean, obviously, not too much in depth to go on with it, but what did you think about the current kind of the animation and the kind of the fishing locations and how all of that goes? Because that's something I don't feel like would have much change to it over time.
Yeah. So we had a philosophy that the fishing nodes were located where potential villages might be, like Nakua villages or something like that. Eventually there will be some kind of reason why the fishing nodes, because all of the crafting nodes were definitely not spread out evenly. So as I was saying earlier, we went up to, where is it? Elian, which is right here. This is the Elian node. There was not a single gatherable in this entire area. Didn't find a single one, whereas there's a bunch of gatherables around here. I think there are a bunch of fishing nodes around here. Nala had a bunch of nodes around it. But yeah, there's not a single node to gather up there.
The island in the middle there, the little peninsula island in the middle, Trader's Rock.
Yeah.
That was completely populated with nodes.
Okay. Yeah, and I know, we ran down and we saw a lot of fishing nodes. I think the fishing was okay. I would like to see it change a little bit.
Do you like the kind of click and passive approach to fishing, or do you like there to be a little bit more of an interactive, click now, click now, click now type of a fishing when it comes to it.
Yeah,
what Mick J said. Do you want a mini game or passive?
Fishing is like the one gatherable where that kind of is different, right? Where like, yeah, it could be a little more fun with a mini game. So this is never going to happen, but what I want to see is like the fish actually swimming around and you target the fish. So like I mean I live in Colorado. I do a lot of outdoor stuff. I'm a huge outdoor nerd as well. So I actually do a lot of fly fishing. And so like the whole point of fly fishing is to try and figure out where the fish is going to be sitting within the river, where the moving water is. So they'll sit like in certain areas, and they'll just pop out and grab things as it floats by. I would love to see something like that implemented where like it's not, where you can kind of tell where the fish is, and then you have to aim the fishing rod and cast it just right so the bobber kind of like floats by it, and then the fish will grab the bobber if it floats by just perfectly. And the ocean could be slightly different, right? Like depending, like the fish kind of does a little pathing and you have to get it like right in the path of the fish or something like that. I would love to see that. I don't see it happening. Also, if you're doing it 1,000 times or whatever, it might get really annoying old.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to video games and fishing, I like there to be a difference between, freshwater, saltwater. I like the use of different baits, even just on a very basic level, even if it's just an increased chance to get, a certain type of fish. But I mean, even looking at the big map, the one that we don't know if it's 100% official, but the one that we've had for a little while now.
Yeah.
If you're fishing in a lake, then you can see, certain lake fish, like over there on the left, on the most left island there. Yeah, those lakes in there.
The most western.
Yeah, I think that's what my brain was going for, but most leftern and the most rightest. But just having different types of fish in different areas, just like with any of the other resources. I mean, I think. I had a conversation with someone with Emerson in the Discord. I mean, we went just super in depth with a lot of just kind of the potential crafting stuff could be, or the potential gathering stuff, and I mean that was even the dev discussion question. What do you typically want out of crafting, or what are some systems and other games that you've enjoyed? But
as
fishing itself, I'm fine with the click it and let it do its thing, and then it reels in on its own. Mainly because I don't see fishing as something that's super interactive, and maybe I just haven't played a game that has been able to change my mind on that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I love fishing in real life, but even fishing in real life is, I mean, it's, usually I got a beer or something and I'm just kind of rambling on. Like it's more about who I'm fishing with rather than what we're fishing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as I said, that fly fishing is a little different. It's a little more active, and that's why I would like to see it kind of modeled after fly fishing, as opposed to, as you said, lake fishing, where you're just in a boat. You just gotta cast out. You either leave it there and let it sit, or you'll like cast it out, reel it in, cast it out, reel it in, and like, yeah, it's pretty, and like, you'll go however many hours of not catching stuff. But I will say, like, I'm right on board with what Steven has said, is like, I don't want the mini game to become tedious.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it's kind of hard to say what crafting is even going to be, because it's so early and everything is a placeholder. But there are definitely some weird bugs in fishing. Like, you could fish a node while facing away from it. So you could like run up to the little thing, turn away, and click on it, and you just like cast off onto land and catch the fish. It's an alpha, right? It's all placeholder. It's fine. Hey, Fayne, rating in, dude. How was your stream? Thank you so much for the host and the raid. Welcome in, everyone. I think a lot of you have been popping back and forth between our chats, but yeah, Fayne, I don't know if you're trying to go, but Super and I are in Discord just kind of chatting. If you want to hop in and chat about stuff, you're welcome to join. Anyone else I know, let me know if you'd like to join in on the conversation. If I don't know you, I want to be a little careful about dragging you in. But yeah, welcome in. Tango, how are you? Swathworth, thanks for the follow. Yeah, welcome in all the Axiom folks who I tested with. It was awesome. Touch, thank you for the resubscription. How are you, Touch? Touch, are you an Alpha 1 member? I'm not sure if I saw you or not. Were you playing Alpha 1 this week? I am trialing with Axiom right now, Reluctant. I have a strong feeling I might be joining Axiom, but it's not for sure yet. But yeah, we played together for this test all weekend. Got to play for like 2 hours. Yeah, I know you're busy. But hopefully we'll get more tests soon. But yeah, so right at the beginning of my stream, Super made me... So if you look at my channel points, there's a pour a drink. Super made me pour some whiskey. So at around 3:30 p.m. today, I started drinking. I'm only a drink and a sip in, but I'm feeling a little buzzed. It's good. Fayne, you should join us. Can you not?
I drug him in. Unmuted him.
Cool. Yeah, I need to get Fayne access to this channel. It's our D&D channel. Oh God. I'm getting messages about Shiba Inu coin from people. I don't think I'm gonna gamble on that one.
Doge. Yeah. Doge, guys. Doge. Shiba, my Shiba's down 25%. It's not good.
It's not good. Yeah, I'm not gambling on that. There's too many. Touch, I already have a drink, so we'll just drink this one. But I will say I'm drinking the nice stuff, Fayne. I got a little Yamazaki 12 year here. That's what I'm pouring. Touch, calm down. Oh my goodness, guys, you guys are ridiculous. I gotta make the pour a drink worth money. Otherwise, oh my God, Touch has too many points. Yeah, we'll get there. I'm not chugging this. This is like really good stuff. I mean, I bought it, I think, for about $60 a bottle, but it goes for like $150 when you can find it.
How you doing, Fayne?
Doing amazing. I'm definitely I definitely did the smart thing where I did a random stream, and now I'm going to lose my voice for the podcast tomorrow, but that's fine.
Oh, dude.
It seems super reasonable.
The excitement levels have been crazy. I'm just like going on rants, and like I'm pretty sure my voice levels in the in my stream are just like I'm looking at the thing, and it's like, yeah, it's all in the red because I'm just so excited. No, Touch, I have more. I'm just like, this is the nice stuff. I don't make this stuff. This is bought. I have distillery stuff, but we'll switch to that once I finish this. But I'm going to enjoy this and sip on it. Fayne, you going to pour a drink? Is that the plan?
That's what I'm in the process of doing right now.
Nice.
Give me 2 seconds. Are we all drinking whiskey right now?
I am, yeah. I think Super is drinking a whiskey sour.
All right.
Yeah, I want to hear what you're drinking. But yeah, we just before you popped in, we were talking a little bit about crafting, so we'll get back to that in a little bit here.
All right. I decided. We got the Eagle Rare 17 year. I wanted a little, a little spicier. We're gonna go for something a little spicier in the bourbon today. So
yeah, Eagle Rare has some good heat to it. I really like it.
Oh, it's definitely one of the hotter whiskeys.
I don't think I've had 17 year, and that's interesting. So like everything our distillery makes is on the smooth side, Obviously, the alcohol content is the same as all the others, but everything we make is super smooth. So I'm just now doing the marketing thing just for Mick J here.
No, for sure. I was looking at the Basil Hayden, and I'm like, do I want like vanilla cinnamon, or do I want something a little, something to push me a bit,
Yeah, the Yamazaki is pretty smooth. It's got a little bit of heat. It's also got a little bit of peat, but a lot of caramel to it, a lot of caramel flavor. So yeah,
Spilling tea with the boys. We're talking
Yeah.
whiskeys tonight, everybody.
we should do a whiskey stream. I was gonna say I was gonna do a donation goal for a bartending stream. Maybe we should do a joint bartending stream.
So down. I'm so down.
Yeah, it'd be so fun. But yeah, what I was gonna say is, for those who don't know, I know a bunch of you came from Thayne's stream, but Thayne is also a bartender. So yeah, I don't know how crafty you are at bartending, but you obviously know all your liquor. And so when I say craft, I'm like, I don't think you're on the full craft side, right? Like taking 5 minutes to make a cocktail.
I've done the full craft side. I definitely had a stint at Bourbon and Branch in San Francisco. That was definitely
nice.
a place that.
Yeah.
So if you're there, you're definitely on the craft side.
Yeah, I know them. Yeah, I mean, as I said, so I was saying this, I'm coordinating with my buddy right now, but I think I'm going to be in San Francisco in about 2 months. So,
guys, we're going to do a SooperTCG live stream. Would you guys be excited to see that? Like an IRL stream? By the way, the IRL stream is going to be us.
I want to see it. I want to see it with you guys down at the distillery.
Ooh, that's in time. Well, when you move to Colorado, we're going to do a Pokemon opening. So you're going to bring an entire pack of Pokemon or an entire booster, whatever you want to call it, of Pokemon cards. And we're going to get you in the distillery. And then we're going to feed you drinks. And then we're going to stream the opening.
And then I have to pronounce the name of the Pokemon while drunk. Got it.
Ooh, I like that.
And this one's Pika Mouse thing.
How many drinks before he refers to one of the Pokemon as the fire guy? That's the fire guy.
Tamdu. I'm not familiar with Tamdu. Let me look that one up.
One of a whiskey that
Nice.
pleasantly surprised me was Redbreast. I don't know if you've ever had that one,
It's a
but
good
that
one.
one is
It's an Irish whiskey, right?
Yeah, that's typically what I go for.
Why are you giving me pop-ups? Any website that gives me pop-ups, I'm like, okay, moving on to the next one. Well, if I can X it out real quick. But is this an Islay? Where's Tamdu located? Let's find out where.
Isn't it? I think it's somewhere south of D's.
Tamdu and Distillery. Oh. Ablor. I don't know how to pronounce stuff, but let's find the map here. Okay, so it's a little more inland. It's not gonna. I'm betting, yeah, as you said, it's probably not gonna be super peaty. Yeah, I mean, I knew it was from Scotland because it's a Scotch. So Scotch is one of those things like champagne or tequila. They all have to be from a specific region. So tequila has to be made in Jalisco, Mexico. Champagne has to be made in Champagne, France. And Scotch has to be made in Scotland.
I get all my Scotch from New Jersey. What? I'm unaware of this.
Oh, really?
The guy sells it to me out of the back of a van. It's great.
Fly to New Jersey just for it.
Really, it's worth the trip.
But yeah,
so
bought that. What's that ad? You buy the 1x1 plot of land where they plant a tree and you become a lord or a lady. Like he did that, and I was just selling it out of the back of his van.
Exactly. Yeah, makes sense.
So just for people who know, like different regions in Scotland tend to have different profiles in terms of their Scotch. So like the Islay Islands here tends to be like super smoky, super peaty. It's like Lafroig and what's the other ones? I don't know. But yeah, my favorite Scotch is Balvenie. Balvenie makes my favorite Scotches.
Good choice. I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, we talk about all things on this stream. But yeah, if anyone has Ash's questions, please feel free to bring that up. But yeah, other than that, we'll just chat and have a good time and whatever else. Ravens. Go ahead.
No Scotch in Ashes just yet, guys, by the way. We checked. We checked the tavern. There's no Scotch in there. Bummer.
Well, so Maggie was in here not long ago, and I was telling her, like, I helped open it. Well, I told her I took the 2 months off from from work to do Ashes content, and then like 4 hours later they announced that the NDA wasn't lifted. But I was telling her about the distillery, and she was like, "Oh, so we're gonna get an Ashes bourbon?" I was like, you know, if things take off, there's a strong possibility we just might.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
you should do a custom label.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's like Bard's Tavern or something like that. Bard's Tavern whiskey.
Oh, it's a definite possibility there, and obviously, like I would want it. I'd have to work with like Intrepid to make sure, you know, everything's kosher in terms of using their assets and logos and intellectual property. But I would,
of course, you always want your whiskey to be kosher.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. My brother, as I said, my brother owns the distillery. My brother is very much hoping I'm gonna be a successful content creator because he knows I'm gonna be pushing our stuff. Like, you know, if we become a huge community and we're reaching a bunch of people to push an Ashes of Creation bourbon, like that shit will sell.
Just code Bartik for 10% off at checkout, by the way, guys.
Exactly. And discount code FAYNE as well, you know.
They charge you 10% more with that one though, so everyone keep an eye on.
No, discount code FAYNE is 10% off, but you get that 10% FAYNE, you know.
Ooh,
there we go. Working it all out.
I can buy some more Shiba Inu coin. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll be able to throw more money away into the garbage for Shiba Inu. I wonder if you will be able to brew more than just beer in Ashes. That's a good question. Yeah, we'll have to see what is allowed. I would hope, and just a clarification for people out there, because a lot of people don't know, brew is for things like beer, mead, and wine, and distill is separate. It's a separate process. So you basically take the fermented product that would make that beer. So if you were to basically put a bunch of water, grains, and yeast into a big vat, or water, you know, grape juice or fruit juice and yeast, that's how you get wine. Water, honey, and yeast gives you mead. If you take that product and then throw it in a still, that's distilling. And you actually, so what you do is you boil it, and water or alcohol vaporizes at a lower temperature than water. So the alcohol comes off first, then you recondense it, and that's how you get liquor. But yeah, just a little science lesson. Stuff I didn't know until I helped my brother open a distillery.
Bartik, can we go to St. George Spirits while you're here? And drink some eau de vie. Yeah, I think we should do that, right?
I do love eau de vie. Can they call it eau de vie? It's not from France. I guess probably.
I mean, Napa makes champagne really in theory.
Yeah. No, they make Prosecco. They can't make champagne.
"Quote unquote" sparkling wine.
Yeah, I think eau de vie is not region based. It's just clear brandy, right? Do you know what fruit they make it from?
Pear. All of their brandy is pear based, actually. So they were a big pear from. I think he was Scandinavian, Swedish. He might have been Swedish.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, pear eau de vie is great. It's got a lot of good flavors and all that. Yeah, that would be fun. So Tango and Mick J, do you want me to go into why moonshine goes bad? Like, you let me know. I'm not going to go into it because it'll be like a couple minute me ranting and raving about, yes, please. Okay. We'll cover it. So the reason moonshine goes bad, it has nothing to do with the amount of alcohol in it, the alcohol quantity or ABV, alcohol by volume. What makes moonshine go bad is methanol. So there's a thing in distilling called heads and tails. Heads is like the first, what I would say, it's roughly about 32 ounces. And it's the first thing that comes off the still. And the first thing that comes off the still is methanol. So ethanol is what you want. It's methanol and some other thols, I guess. There's a couple others, but methanol is the big one. Methanol, if you drink it, will make you go blind. If you drink too much of it, it's poisonous. So in distilling, you basically take those 32 ounces, and what we do is methanol is a great disinfectant. So we pour it into a squirt bottle and use that as disinfectant for the restaurant side of the distillery. However, if you leave that in, you end up with a poisonous product. So yeah, on the safe side, you run it longer than you need to, so you end up with methanol and ethanol. And then there's tails. Tails, you start getting a lot of the volatiles, so it's oils that are now getting hot enough to vaporize and come through the still, and you're also getting a lot of water. So tails is where you end up getting a lot of the bad flavor. So if you're talking about something that like is a super cheap whiskey, what they're doing is they're not cutting it very quickly. They're letting the tails run long because you're technically getting more alcohol out of it, but you're getting a lot of the bad flavors. So yeah, like for us as a small craft distillery where we're trying to produce a really good product, we are very careful to take what we call the hearts. We cut it very early or late on the heads and early on the tails part. So we get a really good clean product. And that's how you end up with that. The other reason that moonshine can go bad is back when they were making moonshine, they were using old car radiators to condense the product. And car radiators have a lot of lead in them. So back during Prohibition, when like they were making a lot of moonshine, people would actually end up with lead poisoning. So technically, moonshine is just corn whiskey, high proof whiskey. It's all fine if produced correctly. Anyway, that's my explanation. Sorry if I went into too much there.
There's also a hard. I always think it's interesting. Like you know the origin of bourbon, right, Bartik?
Oh yeah.
So it's the barrels when they were going down the Mississippi as they were transporting to the South. So many people have hard opinions on moonshine, but they're like, oh, but bourbon's excellent. But moonshine will mess you up. I'm like,
So for the most part, moonshine is literally bourbon that has been put in a barrel. So technically, most moonshine is about 50% corn and 50% white sugar, because that is how you get the cheapest way to get the highest alcohol content out of it. And moonshine was all about alcohol content. But bourbon has to be at least 50% corn, and then at least 51% corn, and then 49% whatever other grain. So the only difference and moonshine can technically be made with all grains, but as I said, it's cheaper to make it with sugar. So technically, like a lot of things that people classify as moonshine is literally just whiskey that has never touched a barrel at high proof. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Sorry, I can talk about this for days.
Essentially, like Bartik and I, it's just unaged. It's just nice and young,
Yeah. Yeah. This beer is nice and young. It's great.
Yeah.
You sounded very convinced there, Bart.
Yeah, really young.
I'm looking at my gray hairs while I say this. I'm like, yeah, no, real young. Real gal, yeah, great.
Yeah. No, it's as I said, I'm a huge nerd. Like, obviously I love drinking. For those of you who know me, I like to drink. I like to drink on stream to a certain degree. I've realized that at a certain point I have to quit the stream and stop drinking because it's not good. But yeah, I love the science behind things. Like that's what gets me off, like analyzing all little bits of it. Wait 10 more years and the wheels start falling off. No, you got to take care of yourself. Tango, as long as you exercise, it's all good. Maybe. That's not true.
I'm just going to have my character in Vera exercise for me.
Yeah. Eggs or sides? I'm not sure I get that. Yeah, Raven, you're also like 6'8", so the taller you are, I feel like the more your body deteriorates.
The less your body likes gravity.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. But yeah, so what did you cover in your stream, Fayne? you go over the whole server, like nodes not leveling and whatnot?
Yeah, so we talked about kind of my experience of this test versus previous tests, and just sort of benchmarked how they've come, and they've come very far, guys. I mean, the things that we could tell you. I mean, there were entire weekend tests where we were rubber banding the whole time, falling through the world. If you actually got in, it's kind of why some of our strategy is, as soon as you get in, run away from the starting zone, because it's going to get real bad real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about that. We talked about Friday not really being able to get in.
Yeah.
We talked about a lot of the systems that we did see. We went through the Alpha 0 and Alpha 1 on the wiki, kind of broke down the systems that we saw, the systems that aren't quite in yet, what we're expecting. Talked about name reservations a little bit.
Okay. I have a question for you. I asked Super this already. Did you see this NDA drop coming at all?
A little bit I did. Okay. I even thought maybe the weekend that the visual NDA drop comes was even potentially going to be pushed up a bit, or maybe they were going to say, hey, we'll do a spot test this weekend and there's going to be no visual NDA on this. So the reason is just how much they've come, and the product that they had now, I think, is so close to being able to be ready to be shown.
Yeah, and as we said in chat all weekend, like how quick they implement fixes, right? That shows it's not a major problem. It's just something little that they can quickly jump on and fix. But I was telling Super, like, I definitely it was kind of my own selfish hope, but I kind of was expecting a verbal NDA drop. I was not expecting it this soon, though.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely was like, they looked at what they tested yesterday and they said, okay, let's go. And I think that's really, really cool. And it, once again, it speaks really to it's going to get the conspiracy theorists out. It's going to get the WoW Burning Crusade conspiracy theorists out about this is why they actually shifted it. It's not real.
Yeah.
But it definitely shows the mobility and the flexibility and the agility of a small development team like this, where they can go in and they can say, okay, we're going to do a test here real quick. Oh, something's broken. We're going to fix this in 12 hours. Oh, we think we're ready. You guys can start talking about what you've seen in the game. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really great. And I think that's why we all love this studio.
Yeah. I mean, it also shows confidence in what they're putting out too. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not a small gesture to be able to say, hey, you can talk about it. You can, despite the rubber banding that was going on, like Fayne, where it is now is way better than where it has been. And I think getting that information out is what's important, and why I'm glad that this portion of the NDA is gone, because being able to convey that in hopefully a way that people can understand and hear is that the game has gone leaps and bounds, not just in the 3 years since it was initially announced, but in the last couple of months. Mm-hmm. I was fully expecting there to be people complaining about not being able to play because they couldn't get in, and though we saw a little bit of that, I also, like I was telling somebody in chat earlier, I was very surprised at how quickly that got fixed, because that's something that we've had to play through in the past. So it's, I feel like every time I test the game, there's something new to rave about. It always comes from how quickly they get these fixes out, even if they're just temporary. It's, just repeating myself at this point, but the way that they handle stuff speaks more to me than the actual state of the game itself.
Well, and kind of spinning off what you're saying there, because I agree with you 100%. And I think that the biggest issue, obviously, in this test was we decided to put 10 times the amount of people onto a server that has ever been on the server before. So that's always going to happen. Yeah. And I wish that those were like numbers that I was joking about. Those are actual numbers. But I think it shows that once they get this, the roadmap going forward is once they get this stable, they will be able to add a system, add a mob, add a class, and if it breaks, they know exactly where to look. So now it's just everything's going to be very plug and play from now on, and we're going to see things expand in a really extreme way.
So before I say my point, I've updated the title of our stream. It is now Cocktail Hour with ItsFayne and SooperTCG. I'm also saying maybe we should just do Ash's Cocktail Hour from now on, like once a week.
I like it. Yeah, Ash's Cocktail Hour. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, now that there's no verbal NDA, we don't have to worry about getting drunk and spilling something we're not supposed to.
100%. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that could be something we do once a week, like Fridays or Saturdays or literally any day of the week. Because I'm down to have cocktail hour any day of the week. But anyway, so I had a thought. So Fayne, you had previously said that you really wish the content creator program had come out sooner, so they had time to kind of like coach people and curate people.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing right now is like almost not everyone, but almost all the content creators are like, they already know what to say. It seems like everyone I tune into or see, they're already on board. They know what's going on. And obviously, you know, a little bit of like some of the more controversial stuff might warrant some coaching, but it seems like, you know, they don't need that much of that. What are your opinions on it now after the weekend, the NDA drop?
Well, I mean, and definitely to kind of to pivot on that point that I was making is that was definitely when they were going to do a full verbal and visual NDA lift. And then it was also just not really knowing. We've seen, like, if anyone in chat knows, Bartik and I have been around this for a long, long time. We've been doing this Ashes like theory crafting thing for ever and a half.
Super has been too. He just hasn't been streaming specifically that.
Super's got his cool Pokemon thing going on, you know, things that I don't know about. The fire one.
The fire guy.
The fire guy. So it was more of a fear. It didn't come out of a place of envy or jealousy or wanting to have something special or hold over. It was really just the fear because as we see these really great content creators come out, there are also some that I even noticed to this day still are spreading not disinformation, but slight misinformation. And while I think it's okay to be critical of a game, especially a game in development, that's what they want. They want us to be here to look at stuff, talk about stuff, coach through stuff, give feedback. We're going to find them. We're going to find the people out there that are straight, just toxic and don't like that. You see that with some of the early content creators. I mean, some of our biggest YouTube creators early on are just no longer in the content creator program and aren't a part really of Intrepid Studios and Ashes of Creation. And you always have to be very careful with allowing those toxic assets in. The way they've done it now, I think has worked out perfectly. I have a feeling that we'll see some sort of creator program coming in the next month or so as we see people creating content around this.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and it's something I've got, like, you know, I'm a very opinionated person, and I will always have my opinions, but I've also realized never have an absolute, right? Always go into it and try to realize the other side. And like, if you have an opinion, literally try to think to yourself, well, how does the other side feel? Right. And anyone that is going into this with an absolute, this is how it is, you just come off like an asshole. I'm sorry. No, be like, so, you know, this is kind of my opinion. I can see where, like, kind of point both sides if you're going to have an opinion, right? Kind of understand both sides. And when someone does something, or I guess expresses a controversial opinion, you know, ask for, well, what's your reasoning behind this? Okay, I can see where you're coming from. And then, like, have it be an open discussion rather than just an absolute.
Oh, I was raised with the statement, and I think this is one of the best statements that's helped with anything that I've ever kind of tackled. You're never entitled to an opinion until you can argue the other side for 10 minutes. Because that means you truly have empathy and you truly understand what where the other person is coming from.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and as I said, like, I don't know. I made a post on. Let me bring this up because I don't know, it cracked me up. Made a post on the forums today.
While you're getting that up, so something that stuck out a little bit in your opening remarks about that was the word coach. I am sure that there is maybe some extra information that's passed to the official content creators, but in no way have I ever felt like I am getting a coach comment from somebody. I think the product itself, both from my own experience and just and hearing these content creators, there are some personalities that I don't like. But when it comes to the content creators that like the official content creators that we have now, I never really feel like anything's coached. I mean, they're critical where they feel like they need to be critical. And so, I think the game, honestly, and this is the best thing that developers could do, or even more pointed, that Steven can do, is create a good game and your content creators will have good things to say. Like, and I think that's what we're seeing, like, is, I mean, and maybe I'm completely off, and maybe the content creators are coached, but I never get that impression. And I mean, I know I'm just harping on the word itself, but
no, I think just to, like, I clarify on that word, it is a word choice that I use when I talk about this, but I guess what I really mean by coached specifically is not coached on what to say, but coached on how to present it. Saying, we're okay if you're critical of a system, but this is how we'd like you to present it. And this is the information that we actually have. And this is the information we actually want to give you. So not necessarily coached on what they're showing and coached on the feedback to give, but really to make sure that the content creators understand where it is. Because I'll guarantee you this, there are people streaming this game. So I'll say this, there was a person who is brand new to streaming this. They clearly haven't streamed a lot of Ashes of Creation. They just started up when a content creator program was announced. They were streaming NDA forums and NDA stuff that we're still even not allowed to show.
Yeah.
And they, besides the fact that 120 people went into their chat and said, dude, stop showing this. This is bad. You're going to lose your account. Their response was, no, I think it's fine. Everyone can see this. Not understanding that certain people can't see NDA channels and certain people can't see NDA forums. So things like that, things that there are going to be people that make mistakes. There are going to be people that have hard and bad opinions. And I think that having them in the community, while it's necessary, isn't exactly great. And you definitely wouldn't want someone like that to end up on a content creation team or have someone like that end up being a resource.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I think it's good for the clarification side of it. I mean, it's a coaching on how you respond or how you deliver the content, not necessarily the content itself.
Exactly. That's sort of what I mean by coaching. Like, this is where we're actually at, because alpha doesn't mean anything, right? And I've talked about this. I harped on this all weekend. Last Oasis. I don't know if you guys have ever played or seen any of this gameplay.
Yeah.
That is in early access pre-alpha. This is technically early access pre-alpha. So if you compared those things, it would be like, what? But they're very different forms of alpha.
Yeah. And that's it, is like, I think it's smart of Steven to have a very clear distinction between release and alphas and betas, right? Like, he's saying this is an alpha, this is a true alpha. I think when we get into beta, this is a true beta. Like, there is going to be a game release, and we're working as hard as we can to get to that as soon as possible. So yeah, it's just interesting to see how this alpha test went. As I said, watching some of the opinions of some of the people in the Discord channels, it's just like, all right, dude, this like literally like this is the last thing you should be worrying about right now. This is not what they're looking for, is like the mini map is terrible. It doesn't show geography. Like, dude, obviously the mini map is going to change. But yeah, just being able to spin it in the right way is important. And what I would say is like the community overall is great. And as I said, most of the content creators know what they're doing. Not everyone, but most. And that to me just like solidifies my support of Ashes in general, because they're doing the right things to pull in the right people.
100%. And I think that also you see the content creators that pull the numbers also tend to be the ones that are providing the best information, the most thought out information, like the ones that have actually studied and actually know the answers or know where to find the answers.
Yeah. So what I was saying before, what I pulled up here is I made a post saying basically I wanted tooltip numbers or tooltip DPS instead of a DPS meter. This is what I posted on the forums. This is the first response I get. Seek help. I'm just like, okay.
That's a great way to open up a dialogue and a conversation.
I'm just like, I get if you disagree with me, but why? Like, what's going on here? Here's the second thing I get. My thoughts, thanks for asking, 2 thumbs down. My response, okay, well, why? Why? What are your thoughts? Like, I'm trying to spark a dialogue here. And clearly, people are now starting to respond. I don't want to, go into it right now. I'll probably go through and read all of this later to see. But now it's starting to spark a dialogue. But the first 2 people, the gung-ho happy people, the squeaky wheel gets the oil kind of aspect is just like, whoever's right on top and there is going to be the one that says something that's like, why did you even respond? What was the point? Like, got nothing there. Anyway, sorry, that was me, because like after I got those first 2 responses, I just closed the post. Is like, now I'm just kind of mad right now.
Oh yeah, I mean the recent podcast we did when I posted on YouTube, like I was called words that, while they're not bad words, we cannot say them on Twitch. I was a something for cosmetic shops, and I love cosmetic shops. There are these people out there that don't actually want to have a dialogue. They just want to have their opinion heard, but not in a constructive way. Because I think that deep down inside, they know that while this is their emotional reaction, this isn't the actual, like if we had an actual talk, I think that they know that they would probably lose the conversation.
Yeah. Well, as I said, my first response was just like a troll, like, I'll go seek help. And then the second one was at least a little more thought out. So I was like, please say something. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. You can't let it really affect you, but it definitely does on a certain level, right? Any content creator that's getting negative feedback, you're gonna, or just any person in general, not necessarily a content creator, is going to kind of like be like, well, maybe I am just an idiot and I shouldn't have posted this.
I think it's important to approach it from a standpoint of, okay, what is this person trying to say? I mean, again, the understanding the other side, even if it's fair. If it's just a fucking benign comment that's just has 0, then that's what it is. But if somebody is saying, hey, you're stupid and here's why, like, okay, that's a little bit more to work with. But even on comments like that, you can take them as, attempt to take them as constructive criticism. Yeah. But it is important to not let it affect you, because that's just going to happen. Even if you're not a content creator, that shit's going to happen. And so it's just trying to approach it from a standpoint of, okay, what can I do to try to understand this person? And I mean, a comment like that, there's really not much you can do. You just got to chalk it up to like, okay, it would have been great to have a conversation about it, but that's it. And then you move on, and then move on to the next one. Because I mean, I do think it is. I mean, yeah. And just coming from what you said about like it will affect you, I mean, I think it's important to try not to let that happen.
Oh yeah, that's always the goal, but it is always going to affect people, and that's also why people do it, right? Daku, welcome in. Thanks for the host, man. How is everyone doing? How was your stream, man? You guys get a bunch of content going and talk about everything going on. So Daku's trialing with Axiom right now as well, right?
Yeah. He's also pretty new to Axiom. Another good content creator out there.
Yeah, Daku streams. I think you're focusing on Final Fantasy stuff right now. Developing, thanks for the follow. Yeah, I know you've already been here for a minute, but developing is another Axiom member. All the love, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, we're just having a fun conversation at this point. We're talking about everything. Can't show Ashes exactly. I mean, soon enough. I mean, honestly, I think that, like, you guys tell me if you disagree, but this is almost even better, right? Than the straight just NDA drop. Like, giving it a combination of things and giving it not quite right ahead of time. But now that we can talk about it, you know, we can do a little talking, and it just kind of like carries us through what we can say, what we like, the information people can have until the actual visual drops. Like, I think I have a bunch of content coming up in terms of like what I saw and all of that. And to me, it's like dipping your toe into the bath before just jumping all the way in, right?
Oh, we get to now it's great. We get to string chat along even more and tease you guys with stuff. It's perfect.
Give you a bunch of misinformation.
Exactly.
I mean, I think it's great that it was backdated as well to all alpha, cool. all of Alpha Zero. Because, I mean, without that, I mean, people like Fayne and myself, we would still be sitting here trying to talk in code about how far the game has come. Yeah. And so that move, I think, was the most impactful thing about all of this, is that we are able to talk about past, not just this weekend, experiences, and even make comparative statements. And I mean, like I said, not have to kind of tiptoe around it.
And yeah, I'm so glad they dropped the past stuff too, because so many games will not drop the past stuff. So like, there's literally people that have alpha tested, like, I don't know, things like Final Fantasy 14 or ESO that still cannot talk about what happened in testing. It's like, why? What is the point of that? Like, do you really think it's going to be a bad thing? No, it's just going to generate more like content. It's going to generate more talking about what's going on, what happened, how far they've come. If you're not confident in your product is the only reason to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. If you don't really know, if you're kind of developing without really understanding not only your roadmap, but where your end goal is, that's why you would be sort of shy to say that, for sure.
Yeah. So like, it's super cool that they did this. And you know, as I said, I took 2 months off of work last Monday, and then they announced that they weren't dropping the NDA, and I was bummed. But obviously, you know, I understand why. And then to have the verbal NDA drop, I'm just like, okay, I'm completely okay with how everything worked out. Super happy. We can now talk about it. We can, yeah. And it seems like everyone is just overwhelmingly positive about the testing this weekend.
Yeah, I didn't hear too much negative feedback at all. And even the people that I always said, I said this a couple times in my stream, and I want to say it here for all the people in your chat. I had a member. She's also an Axiom. She was very bummed she wasn't in on the Kickstarter. She even took kind of a break from coming around because she felt so bad that she wasn't in. She finally got into Alpha 1, and the comment that she said 3 or 4 times this weekend was, "This test was worth $all."
Yeah, she was here earlier for those who weren't aware. Wait, you're the female Nyx, right?
Exactly, right?
so Nyx was in here earlier, and we literally were like, wait, you're the female Nyx, right? And then,
I mean, I think Wizzy even had the same sentiment as well, as far as, because she was very on the edge about Alpha 1. I mean, like I said earlier, we were all very surprised when she hopped into the NDA Discord. We're like, hold on, how'd you get in here? Like, because she had basically decided that she wasn't going to get it, and then kind of said screw it, upgraded, and to my knowledge has not expressed any discontent on that purchase and that upgrade.
Not what I meant to do.
I think that's I think that says a lot. I mean, even for people who have been following the game for a long time. I mean, if you guys don't know Wizzy McNasty, like, then I don't believe you, because I mean, she's literally in like every single Ashes chat ever, all the time. And so, for somebody who is as invested as the rest of us emotionally in the game, it was really cool to see her, have her, cautions about purchasing and whatnot, and just kind of say, screw it, I'm going to do it. And it work out. I mean, it's nice to see that.
I mean, the only downside is Wizzy did say that, or Lore, who's around in all these chats, he did say that if Wizzy doesn't buy A1, he would eat a shoe live and record it. And we were all picking out what kind of shoe Lore was going to eat live one day.
I mean, if I were a Wizzy, did Wizzy know this?
Wizzy was fully aware. She was very aware.
She was in the chat.
We spent 30 minutes picking out the shoe.
I am surprised she didn't, because I know Wizzy is stubborn. I am surprised she didn't hold out just to make Lore eat a shoe. But I also wanted to say thank you, Whale Mode. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. I will be creating Ashes content hardcore for the next 2 months, and then we'll see from there what I can spare in time. But I will be making content off and on. What I was going to say, if anyone hasn't bought into Alpha, there's still plenty of time. I think it is very worth it. I have never had so much fun in terms of camaraderie with people, a new and exciting system. That meme that what's his name made? I'm blanking on his name right now. You guys remember that Steven posted on Twitter?
Yeah, he's really good at memes. It was Cambiguous?
Cam. That Cam posted that Steven retweeted on his Twitter. I mean, if you are passionate about this game, there's no better feeling than being an alpha tester and doing everything you can to help this game succeed. I will also, once again, put the other side down. It's $500. If you can't afford that, it's fine. Wait.
You're not buying a game.
Yeah.
You're not buying a game. You're not buying a game. You're not buying a game.
Yeah. You're not buying a game. You're helping promote things. And as Mick J said, definitely if it's something you want to get into, look for a group. Virtue's awesome. Axiom's awesome. There's a bunch of other awesome guilds. I'm going to say those two because we got a lot of Virtue members, including Super, and we got a bunch of Axiom members, including Thane and potentially myself. So I'll leave it there. But and everyone is welcoming. Everyone is awesome. Every single guild is happy to have new members and new people to hang out with and do cool things. But it's oh my god, this weekend was just so much fun.
Fane might be able to speak to this a little bit because you've been following for a long while now, right?
Oh yeah, since Lazy Peon's first video in 2017, I've just been hardcore on this thing.
So just a note about the community you were talking about. One thing that I found very interesting and awesome is that when his most recent Lazy Peon video, I think the one that you saw, Bard, that put it on your radar.
Yeah.
All of the people that started streaming around that point, both longtime followers of the game and people who have just discovered it, the community as a whole has been very welcoming, very open, very, for the most part, happy to answer any questions that can be answered. And I will say, I hope that this can persist through till launch.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And I think that there will be small nodes of it that do. I really hope that the game as a whole can proceed forward with this type of community behind it, because
it's up to us to make that happen.
This. Oh, absolutely. And you don't see this with MMORPGs. I mentioned the development company Blizzard, and all of our minds instantaneously go to fuck Blizzard, or screw this, or like, and that's just McJay. Yeah.
Wait, I got the quote. Hold on, here we go. Okay, Blizzard. You guys all have phones, don't you?
Is this an out of season April Fool's joke?
What?
Yeah.
I love that guy. That man is a
awesome.
legend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and so like having this, the people, I mean, you see it within the alpha, you see it within the streamers, you see it within, I mean, even the people talking in chat. I mean, how many times have you actually had to, and maybe it's more than I realize, but I mean, how many times have you actually had to like ban somebody because they're just in here straight up bad mouthing Ashes for no fucking reason except to be a dick? You know what I mean? Like, for most part, people bring up legitimate concerns, and if they disagree with the answer, then I mean, so even on the bad side of the spectrum, it hasn't been total assholes. Mm-hmm. Now, Asmon's going to be streaming once the NDA drops completely, so maybe that's where they all are. But
he's also going to bring hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh, absolutely.
Categories. So like, I'm not like, I know Asmon's got a bunch of trolls in his community. Unfortunately, when you're that big, you're just going to have that. But like, I think Asmon is going to do great things for Ashes in general in terms of. I
agree.
100%.
I like Zach. I'm not a huge fan of Asmongold. I like Zach.
Yeah.
I think he's a very intelligent person overall. I enjoy it when he's on a podcast. I really enjoyed his video of him talking to Steven. I thought he asked very pertinent questions. Mm-hmm. I thought it was, very legitimate concerns. And I think he's able to kind of take the information in stride and be like, okay, I'm going to give these guys a chance to make something great.
Well, I've said this before. I used to think Asmon was an idiot. Maybe 3 to 5 years ago, whenever it was. I've changed my opinion since, but like 3 to 5 years ago, when I used to like watch him every once in a while, he was playing a reality TV, like he was playing a character. And at the time, I did not realize that. I was just like, dude, this dude's an idiot. He creates drama for no reason, all this and that. And then since then, I've seen him really like evolve and start talking about real things and like being very intelligent to the point where I'm like, holy shit, like you are so smart that you realized you had a character to play and you played it. And now that you have a big enough following, you can actually start evolving and talking about real shit. And now I'm a huge fan of Asmon. So like, it's interesting to see that evolution of a streamer. And as I said, I think he's going to be nothing but good overall for the Ashes of Creation stuff, despite whatever people do for trolling. But people are going to troll regardless, right? So.
Oh yeah, troll's going to troll. So.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, gentlemen, I've finished my whiskey and I'm getting pressure from the girlfriend because I apparently have to cook dinner time. I don't know why, but I'm in charge of that. So I'm going to leave you guys now. Thank you so much. Chat, you guys are awesome. Give this man some love. Both these guys some love. They're making amazing content out there.
Tell her no.
Tell her no? Yeah, sorry. That was the last time
you haven't been in a relationship.
That's not how that works. But I mean, we'll stream for a little bit longer, but probably not too much. We've kind of covered what we need to cover, and we're having a good time. But what I was going to say is we should make Ash's Cocktail Hour a thing.
I'm down. I'm 100% down for Ash's Cocktail Hour.
We can rotate streams or whatever it is, but just like, we'll talk about that later, picking a date, and we can rotate people in and out and whatever works. But I think Ash's Cocktail Hour sounds like a blast.
I'm down. All right, gents, have a good night. Catch y'all later.
Yeah, thanks for the raid.